Immortal Family Cultivation. I am the reincarnation of a great ancestor. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 226. The years start in spring and autumn. At this moment, Yan Lingyu seemed to have traveled through time and space and returned to the seemingly ordinary world. He saw the ups and downs of the 5,000 years of Chinese civilization. It was a brilliant and glorious history. Even its amazing degree was higher than today's Zhuanai continent. Indeed, in this world of immortal cultivation, the human race can really go to heaven and earth, be omnipotent, and can also win immortality and compete with heaven. But the long life also brought a consolidated rule. Hengshui sect, Zhengai sect, these ancient forces, which one did not suppress the world for tens of thousands of years. With them on top, how can heroes emerge in the world? For so many years, only one Dacian royal family can enjoy a great reputation and stand out from the blockade. Apart from this, no new forces have been produced. The history of China is completely the opposite. It is also that many ordinary people have a lifespan of at most 100 years, which makes the dynasties change very quickly. It is said that long-term separation must be united, and long-term unity must be separated. It will be easier to bloom the gorgeous fireworks of human nature between separation and unity. This is the difference that will eventually lead to the two immortals. The people Yan Lingyu chose were the human way, not those who practiced immortality. In fact, in his opinion, these were already two species. On the second floor of the Sutra Pavilion, Yan Lingyu stood still, as if in a trance. There were also other sword cultivators from the Langhuan sect who were confused by the former's actions and shocked by the sword force bursting out from the other party, and all kinds of speculations arose in their hearts. Yan Lingyu himself had already built a framework of his own sword world in this short period of time. Fortunately, the sword he first learned was the Sword of Four Seasons, and this most basic sword method happened to be applied to his next sword path. If he had chosen the inheritance of Master Jingshan or Master Honglu, his path would have changed forever. Although Yan Lingyu can only have this natural sword body in this life, but the comprehension of the sword can be passed down from generation to generation. Even if he dies in the future, Yan Lingyu's sword path has begun his journey, which means that after reincarnation, he can continue to walk on the sword path, but his comprehension ability will be much weakened compared to when he has a natural sword body. But Yan Lingyu, who can reincarnate infinitely, has infinite time to slowly polish. When the sword world is officially established, the next step is how to fill it in. This requires an entry point, a base point. Yan Lingyu first thought of starting from the Xia dynasty and slowly writing history. But then he denied it, along with the Shang and Zhou dynasties. Because these three dynasties have a long history, more myths have been passed down. What Jingwei fills the sea, the investiture of the gods and the like. They are more inclined to immortals and gods rather than people. And Yan Lingyu himself is not particularly familiar with the historical figures of that period. After thinking about it, he finally decided to start shaping from the spring and autumn period. And his system is called Suizhe Chunkyu. Suizhe Chunkyu, starting from the spring and autumn period. There are secret determinations in the dark. When it comes to the spring and autumn period, there are too many well-known characters and events. Among them, you have to carefully select the sword that suits you. And now is also the early stage of the construction of the sword world. There is no need to be so complicated. Sometimes the simplest is also the most effective. Moreover, if you bite off more than you can chew, you will not be able to digest too much. Learning too many sword techniques will interfere with your development direction and cause you to lose sight of one thing while focusing on another. At this point, Yan Lingyu has made up his mind. The next step is to find a character that can be established. With a direction, he will not be so blind and at a loss in the sutra library. Yan Lingyu once again returned to the busy work of flipping through the sword techniques. Wind and sword technique, broken gold sword technique, 13 empty wood sword techniques. Yan Lingyu kept wandering throughout the second floor, and one Zhuan level sword technique after another flowed in front of his eyes, constantly being picked up and put down, but none of them were satisfactory. Seeing this situation, some kind-hearted fellow disciples came forward to offer help, but they were all rejected by the former. Yan Lingyu was completely immersed in his own world at this moment. He believed that he would be able to find the sword technique that best suits his current stage in these classics. Daoming sword art, 6-wheel Kinkyu sword art, sword to death, sword to death. Suddenly, Yan Qingxun's eyes lit up, and he stared at the sword to death in his hand, and his mind was full of memories. Somehow, Yan Qingxun flicked his palm and opened the cover of the book, and his consciousness was completely immersed in it. Only with the determination to die can you exert more powerful strength. This is the first sentence of Sword to Death. Its founder is an ordinary sword cultivator named Zhang Ke, who does not even belong to any sword force, but is a casual cultivator. When he realized this sword art, he was only at the 9th level of key training. But this sword art gave him powerful strength, allowing him to kill his enemy who is in the middle stage of foundation building. But the price was his life. After he used the sword move, he was exhausted and could not dodge the attack of his enemy's fellow disciples. And Yan Qingxun also explored that this sword to death is not a suicide move, but more like a secret method of burning blood, but the side effects are not as great as the latter, which will affect the foundation. What made Yan Qingxun stop was this sword towards death, which reminded him of the famous assassins in the spring and autumn period, Xuanzu and Yurang. Xuanzu was a native of Tangai in the state of Wu during the spring and autumn period. In 515 BC, Prince Guang took advantage of the internal emptiness of Wu and conspired with Xuanzu. Under the pretext of entertaining King Liao of Wu, he hid a dagger in the belly of a fish and presented it, Yuchen's sword, assassinating King Liao of Wu on the spot. Xuanzu was also killed by King Liao of Wu's guards. Yu Rang was a native of Jin during the spring and autumn period and the Warring States period. He was a retainer of Zhi Boyo, the prime minister of Jin. Later, Zhi Boyo was defeated and died. In order to avenge his lord Zhi Boyo, Yu Rang painted his body with lacquer, swallowed charcoal to make himself mute, hid under the bridge, attempted to assassinate Zhao Xiangzi but failed, and was later captured by Zhao Xiangzi. Before he died, he asked for Zhao Xiangzi's clothes, drew his sword and cut his clothes to show that he was avenging his lord, and then committed suicide by falling on his sword, leaving behind the eternal story of a gentleman dies for his confidant. These two people embody the sword of death and the anger of the common man, which is also the sword of the assassin. It is in line with the sword cultivator's fearlessness of all difficulties in competing with the world. Yan Qingxun had an idea in his mind, and the people in his sword world also had a prototype. They were Xuanzu and Yurang. This sword to death must be kept. But it alone is not enough. Yan Qingxun still has to collect more corresponding swordsmanship. In his expectation, the assassination sword art plus the sword art of death is the basis of Xuanzu's sword and Yurang's sword. And with the appearance of the two of them, the road ahead is temporarily determined. After all, there are still two of the four great assassins. They are Jing Ke and Nijang in the Warring States period. Exhaling, Yan Qingxun fully revealed his meaning in sword to death. The natural sword body in his body circulated, completely stripping out the essence of the swordsmanship. What Yan Qingxun didn't know was that at this moment, his fellow disciples around him looked at him as if he had seen a ghost, and felt a chill sweeping through his body. Chapter 227, Qingxun's Change, Returning to the Clan Again. Yan Qingxun stayed in the Daojin Peak Sutra Library for 2 months. When he came out, his aura had changed dramatically. He looked like a mortal, not a cultivator. Junior brother Yan Qingxun was about to fly away when a voice suddenly stopped him. He turned around and saw that it was his fellow senior sister Feng Qinglian. Senior sister Feng? What a coincidence, it's really you. Compared to the former, Feng Qinglian was the more surprised one. After looking Yan Qingxun up and down, she said, "Your temperament has changed so much? If I weren't familiar with you, I really wouldn't recognize you. It seems that you have gained a lot this time." Yan Qingxun smiled and nodded. This time he was not as humble as before, but replied positively, "Yes, the future path has been determined." This is indeed a surprising thing. What? Have you already built a prototype of the framework of the sword world? Feng Qinglian is also a sword prodigy, and she entered Daojin Peak earlier than Yan Qingxun. Her understanding of the sword is not much less than that of the other party, and she even knows more. As soon as she heard the words of her junior brother, she reacted instantly. There was shock and envy in her tone. In fact, she herself had just stepped into the threshold of the sword, and was still in the stage of comprehending the sword intent. She had not yet built a complete sword intent, let alone a prototype of the sword world. I heard that senior brother Guan Su inherited the Wilderness Chronicles of Master Honglu. Did junior brother Yan inherit Master Jingshan's world? Feng Qinglian couldn't resist her curiosity and asked. The two masters are naturally incomparable to me. Junior brother, I just comprehended a unique little world. Yan Qingxun smiled faintly and didn't want to talk about it. The world of swordsmanship is too important for a sword cultivator to be revealed to others at will. Not to mention senior sister, Yan Qingxun might not even reveal it to his family members. Feng Qinglian also reacted and knew that he had said too much. He looked apologetic. Sorry, junior brother Yan, I was too anxious. This matter of the world of swordsmanship should be kept secret. In order to ease the embarrassment, Yan Qingxun also changed the subject and said, by the way, senior sister Feng, you should also be able to enter the secret realm of swordsmanship. With the secret realm, the prototype of your world must be nurtured. Well, you are right. I also have a hunch that it is not far away. Feng Qinglian's eyes flashed with a trace of yearning and longing. Many of her fellow disciples have entered the stage of building the sword world, but she is still one step behind. Only she knows the frustration and unwillingness in her heart. The two talked for a while and then said goodbye. Junior brother Yan, see you in the sword-hidden secret realm. See you in the sword-hidden secret realm. After parting with Feng Qinglian, Yan Qingxun sent a message to Master Honglu to explain his situation. He didn't keep much from this uncle. He revealed everything about the human world to him, but kept his various ideas about creating sword moves. After that, Yan Qingxun turned into a swordlight and left the cave of his sister Yan Qinghun. Like Feng Qinglian, Yan Qinghun was also shocked when she saw her cousin. Brother Qingxun, have you made a breakthrough? Yes, Yan Qingxun nodded with a smile. What a terrible talent. Even though we are so close, I can't feel your presence. What's more important is that I feel a little panic in my heart. I am driven by instinct to get away from you quickly. Yan Qinghun sighed, her beautiful eyes emitting a golden light. She was naturally happy for her family members' success in cultivation. At the same time, she also deeply felt that her cousin was extraordinary. Yan Qinghun has also been cultivating in the Langhuan sect for 5 or 6 years and has seen many geniuses. But she has never met someone like her cousin who looks the same after not seeing him for 3 months. The Yan family is blessed by God to have Yan Qingxun. Yan Qinghun thought so in her heart, so that a touching smile hung on her originally cold face. Sister, let's not talk about this for now. I am going to go back to the family again. Do you want to go back with me? Next, for the matter of the sword-hidden secret realm, Yan Qingxun will go to Guangzhou, and just happen to go back to the family to explain some matters. As far as the former knew, Yan Qinghun did not get the permission to enter the sword-hidden secret realm. She was still a little mediocre in talent. There were a few places to enter the sword-hidden secret realm at one time, and the Longming Sword Conference was approaching. Daojian Peak could not make everyone equal, and the best steel must be used on the blade. Therefore, Yan Qinghun could only wait for future opportunities. I haven't been back to the clan for a long time, and I don't know what changes have happened to the Yan family now. This time, I just took advantage of the breakthrough to ask the master for some free time. After hearing the other party's words, Yan Qinghun was also moved. This was the first time she had been away from home for so long since she grew up. Life in the Langhuan sect was too boring and too ruthless. She wanted to feel the warmth of the family more. Then let's pack up and gather tomorrow to go back to Chennai Mountain together, okay? Another half a month passed. On this day, the Yan family Chennai Mountain was particularly lively. Although Yan Qinghun had no close relatives here, the elders of the clan treated him as their own child. Especially the ancestor Yan Lingyu. The old and the young have always had a good relationship. As soon as Yan Qinghun came back, he was taken by the former to understand the changes in Chenyanshan. As usual, Yan Qingxun returned to his home first. But now this small courtyard seems a little deserted and lacks the liveliness of the past. Of course, his parents still treat him as always. Qingjin has gone out to explore the world, Yan Qingxun murmured, feeling a little emotional and expectant. He didn't know how his sister would come back. As for the other party's safety, Yan Qingxun was not very worried. He was naturally insured to let the other party go out. He secretly gave the other party the small teleportation talisman. Since entering the Langhuan sect and breaking through the foundation, the small teleportation talisman has little effect on Yan Qingxun, but for Yan Qingjin, who is still practicing key cultivation, it is the best way to save his life. Of course, as a brother, he can only do this. How Yan Qingjin can grow depends on her own luck. This time, Yan Qingxun did not stay at home for long. The next morning, he found the elder Yan Zingkang. He told him about the Longming sword meeting and the sword hidden secret realm, and also announced that he might not be able to provide any assistance to the family in the next 5 or 6 years. The Yan family naturally supported him with all their strength. After all, not to mention the increase in the strength of the clan members, if Yan Qingxun performed well in the Longming sword meeting, the Yan family would also benefit from it. On the Kyushu building of Chen Yanshan, Yan Qingxun and Yan Zingkang stood facing each other. The latter frowned slightly and said with some concern, "The sword hidden secret realm is in Guangzhou? Mingxin sect is also in Guangzhou, and the other party has been making a lot of moves recently." Yan Qingxun's heart sank. Back then in the Xianzhou secret realm, he killed a core disciple of the other party. Chapter 228, Mingxin sect situation, meeting Zhang Huayin again. Yan Zikang looked at the young man in front of him with some worries in his heart. Even if the Mingxin sect disciple had not been killed, the Yan family would have dispatched clansmen to Guangzhou to investigate whether the other party knew about the Xianzhou secret realm. Now 3 months have passed, and the Yan family has some understanding of the actions of the Mingxin sect. Yan Zingkang said, from the other party's actions, they should not know about the secret realm. At most, they are a little suspicious. They found special fluctuations at the location where the secret realm was originally located, so they also had some exchanges with our Yan family, but all returned in vain. It's just that the matter of the Mingxin sect disciple is a bit troublesome. According to the information collected by the Yan family, the Mingxin sect disciple you killed was named Lang Yun, and he is indeed an important young figure in his sect, but the key to the problem is not above him, but another disciple. Yan Zikang's words made Yan Qingxun frown even more. The former said, among the 3 foundation building cultivators who entered the Xianzhou secret realm, one of them was named Ho, who was the blood relative of the 3rd supreme elder of Mingxin sect. This elder had an extremely hot temper and was determined to find out the truth. The entire Mingxin sect area was blocked and checked layer by layer. Fortunately, you were teleported to Chen's with the Xianzhou secret realm at the beginning, otherwise, you would be in danger of being discovered. This is troublesome. Yan Qingxun sighed and secretly said that things are unpredictable. Now if he says that the woman surnamed Ho was not killed by him, Mingxin sect will not believe it. Moreover, if he wants to make this matter clear, it will inevitably lead to the Xianzhou secret realm. At this point, the relationship between the 2 sides will only deteriorate further. Then, Elder, what is the Yan family's plan? Yan Qingxun asked. Now it seems that we can only delay. As long as the other party can't find it, it will be quiet after a long time. Yan Zikang said so. The main reason is that there are too many people involved, and the other party is also strong. There is really no better way. Both sides are forces with backgrounds. If there is a real friction, the Yan family will suffer. Suddenly, Yan Zikang's eyes became serious and he said, moreover, according to the information sent back by Guangzhou, the Mingxin sect has the ability to spy on the secrets of heaven. If there were no concealing formation in the secret realm, the matter might have been exposed long ago, but you can't let your guard down. Qingxun, you may have to take a detour to get from Yuanzhou to the Jianzheng secret realm in Guangzhou. Yan Qingxun and Lang Gaiyu's auras are too close. Maybe when passing by Mingxin sect, the other party will really notice something strange. Then I'll take a detour from Pingzhou next door, Yan Qingxun said. Guangzhou is very large, and Mingxin sect only occupies a corner of it. Its sphere of influence cannot radiate the entire state. As long as they avoid the other party's territory and directly enter the Jianzheng secret realm, there will be no risk of being detected. Then, Yan Zikang smiled and comforted the former, saying, don't be too nervous. There are also members of our Yan family in Guangzhou. They will cooperate with you. And the Zhang family in Pingzhou is also willing to help you. Zhang family, Yan Qingxun murmured softly, and a slightly vicissitude's face emerged in his sea of consciousness. It was Zhang Huayin. Since leaving the Zhang family and entering the Langhuan sect, Yan Qingxun rarely received news about the Zhang family. I only know that his son Yan Zinitun is still dating the Zhang family. The relationship between the Yan and Zhang families is getting closer and closer. In Yan Qingxun's heart, Zhang Huayin is indeed a character. A real wise and brave man. It is a good thing for the Yan family to make friends with each other, get what they need, and promote each other. Yan Zikang then said with a smile, the Zhang family has gained a lot of benefits from you. Because of your appearance, The Zheng family's mortal enemies have been suppressed so badly that the head of the Kui family sent people to give gifts and apologize 2 years ago. Because of the killing of Kui Junshu of the Kui family, the Yan family lost members on both sides, and there was a gap between the two families. But for a force like them, everything can be adjusted as long as the benefits are sufficient. If they really use knives and guns, both sides will suffer, and there will be more casualties, and neither side will get any good. Now that the Yan family is in the development stage, these hatreds can be resolved, which is barely acceptable. Moreover, the territories of the two parties are far apart, and it is impossible to have some friction. Moreover, those old foxes of the Zheng family obviously want to find some benefits from you again. I don't know where they heard the news of the Longming Sword Club. They have been very attentive to our Yan family in recent days. Yan Zikang said this, and his smile became even bigger. He had suffered a lot when he hid his identity in Longming County and protected the Yan family. And they often have to beware of the attacks of Zheng's golden elixir. Now that the two levels have reversed, the Yan family is on the leading side, and the other side is the side that needs to be flattered, so they naturally feel refreshed. Zheng Huayan wants to see you, what do you think? Kingxun, do you want to see him? Yan Zikang asked. Yan Kingxun thought for a while, there is no harm in this, he can still see his son, and there is still some time before the opening of the sword-hidden secret realm. So what if he goes to the Zheng family base camp? Yes. Stayed in Chennaian Mountain for another 3 days. Yan Kingxun set off again. And Yan Qinghen continued to stay in the family. The matter of the sword-hidden secret realm had nothing to do with her, so there was no need to go with the former. The distance between Pingzhou and Yuanzhou is not that far. But when they arrived at the Zheng family in Yuanyang Mountain, Pingzhou, less than 6 days had passed. And the people sent by the Zheng family to greet them were Zheng Huayan, Zheng Xiling and his son, and of course Yan Zinun from the Yan family. Originally, Zheng Huayan was the head of the Huangjiang city lineage in Longming County. But because of his meritorious recommendation, he got a lot of benefits for the Zheng family from Langhuan sect, so he was transferred back to the main family. After a few years, his talent was also discovered, and he gradually became the main contender for the position of the chairman of the main family. It can be said that he rose rapidly. So, when he saw Yan Kingxun, he was so kind. My friend Kingxun. How are you? Ha. Zheng Huayan, who is now in high spirits, specially prepared spiritual food and spiritual banquets for the two nobles to welcome them. Of course, this shrewd guy smiled on the surface, but secretly looked at Yan Kingxun. The more he looked at him, the more frightened he was. In the past few years, he had not seen the other party, and the other party had changed even more. He was really a talented person with great talent. He secretly said in his heart, Yan Kingxun's entry into Langhuan sect is like a young dragon entering the sea. At the same time, his idea of making friends with the other party became more determined. Maybe in the future, what the Zheng family can't give to Zheng Huayan, the Yan family can give. Senior Zheng, Yan Kingxun was a little frightened by the fox's eyes, and interrupted the other party's line of sight with a return gift. On the other side, Yan Zinun was also very pleased to see Yan Kingxun's current appearance. Over the years, he has been in the Zheng family and rarely returned to Chennaian Mountain. He also received news from home in a sporadic manner. He often heard how his third brother boasted about Yan Kingxun, and now that he met him, it was indeed as Yan Zikang said. Suddenly, Yan Zinun felt that his efforts to take root in the Central Plains for 20 years were not in vain. Seeing the family continue to grow, the sacrifices of the clansmen were worth it. Chapter 229 Zheng Huayan's Thoughts, the Birth of a New Ally. Although there are many golden elixirs and yuanying in the Langhuan sect, not every cultivator has the leisure to take care of the sect's affairs. For these high-level cultivators, their own cultivation and understanding are the most important. They all want to go further, so they are often in a state of seclusion. Unless there is something important, they will not show up. This is the case with Taoist Master Honglu. If it weren't for the disciple-taking ceremony and the Longming sword meeting, he would rarely show up. In addition, the entire Langyu county is vast, and there is also the participation of the Daqian dynasty. In fact, the influence of the Langhuan sect is not as great as imagined. There will also be benefits that can be omitted and distributed to the forces below. The sword-hidden secret realm, to which the Daojian Peak belongs, is located in the Weiqiu Mountains in the north of Guangzhou. It is such a place with hidden benefits. Although the sword-hidden secret realm belongs to the Langhuan sect, As long as enough benefits are paid, this secret realm can also be participated by other forces. For example, several famous sword forces. They often spend huge amounts of spiritual stones or other spiritual objects of equivalent value in exchange for the right to use the secret realm. Therefore, a number of medium-sized market towns have been formed near the Wikyu Mountains. They are all built by cultivators from all over Dacian. In theory, this type of market town is under the unified jurisdiction of the Langhuan sect, but they spend a lot of manpower to guard the secret realm. If they want to manage these market towns formed by cultivators from all over the country, it seems that they are willing but unable to do so. Perhaps the benefits of these small and medium-sized market towns are not worth mentioning for a behemoth like the Langhuan sect, but for a developing force like the Yan family that urgently needs various resources, it seems extremely precious. Apart from anything else, cultivators from all over the world gather in these market towns, and the spiritual objects they can bring out are also specialties from all over the country. These spiritual objects may be commonplace in other places, but they are scarce in Lingyu County. Some spiritual objects are urgently needed by their own forces. For example, evil spirits. The land and water of a place nurture the people of that place, and the evil spirit is no exception. In Lingyu County, there are less than 100 kinds of evil spirits that can be produced. There are few kinds, which cannot meet the needs of all cultivators. There are several people in the Yan family who are in the late stage of foundation building, but they cannot condense the pill because they do not have the suitable evil spirit. Therefore, when Yan Lingyu learned about the situation in the Wikyu Mountains, he had the idea of letting the family forces enter these markets. It is time for the Yan family's Zionian pavilion to take root in the Central Plains. Originally, he felt that the time was not yet ripe, and it would be better to wait until he came out of the Jianzheng secret realm, let the family develop for a few years, and make plans in this regard after the family power became stronger. However, after a conversation with Zhang Huayan, he found that the other party was doing his best to support his idea. So Yan Lingyu changed his mind and felt that this matter could be brought forward. Yan Lingyu conveyed his intention to Yan Zhenyu and asked the latter to communicate with the Zhang family on his behalf. Senior Zhang, my Yan family wants to use Ling's sword influence in Langhuan sect to open up our own Chamber of Commerce Zionian pavilion in the market of Wikyu Mountain Range, but the Yan family is small and short of manpower. Can your Zhang family provide help? After receiving the voice transmission, Yan Zhenyu looked at his junior in surprise, but still spoke and asked Zhang Huayan. Wikyu Mountain Range? Market? Chamber of Commerce, Zhang Huayan pondered. Yueyang Mountain, the territory of the Zhang family, is not far from the Wikyu Mountain Range. They are quite familiar with the situation there and have long coveted the huge benefits there, but they just don't have the opportunity. The idea proposed by the Yan family is exactly what he wants. In fact, the Zhang family, or Zhang Huayan's branch, wants to fully support the Yan family. But there are always voices of opposition in the Zhang family, and there are quite a few. After all, there are not many people like Zhang Huayan who can understand the powerful essence of the Yan family. Some members of the Zhang family still look down on the Yan family. Zhang Huayan is a loyal family man, hoping that his Zhang family can become stronger. He also believes that the Yan family is the opportunity for growth. As smart as Zhang Huayan is, he naturally sees the true meaning of Yan Zhenyu's words. The Yan family needs the Zhang family to contribute people, effort, and money, but most of the final gains belong to the Yan family, because the Chamber of Commerce established is Zionian Pavilion, which belongs to the Yan family. This seems extremely unfair, but Zhang Huayan is willing to accept it. Not to mention that even a small part of the profits divided out is enough to make up for the initial investment of the Zhang family. In this matter, it is certain that the Yan and Zhang families will become true allies. This is what Zhang Huayan values. Everyone knows the 18 top forces in the Central Plains, but they don't understand why the number is 18, why not 17, why not 19? Because it was these 18 forces that supported and funded the establishment of the Dacian dynasty. This is the merit of following the dragon. Therefore, for thousands of years, no matter how strong the emerging forces are, they can't squeeze into this ranks. Of course, although he said so, Zhang Huayan did not expect the Yan family to become the next Dacian. If the Yan family could develop into a major force that monopolized several states, his Zhang family would benefit greatly. Moreover, inexplicably, Zhang Huayan believed that the Yan family could do it. So, Zhang Huayan said solemnly, "We Zhang family are willing to provide help, Yan Zhenhun smiled. Yan Qingxun nodded secretly. In fact, in Yan Qingxun's view, letting the Zhang family participate in this matter is profitable for the latter. Even if the other party contributes more, without Yan Qingxun's identity as a disciple of Langhun's sect Dao Jiangfeng, they will not succeed anyway. And it is only a matter of time for the Yan family to establish Xian'an Pavilion without the help of the Zhang family, and they will enjoy the benefits alone. So why is Yan Qingxun willing to bring this up? Mainly because the Yan family needs a solid ally, just like the Iron Triangle in Xiaonan County. Now the Hai family is far away in Daluo County. At most Hai Chongyang can run back and forth and provide some help. And Kunlun Gate is even more devastated, and can only rely on the Yan family to slowly build its own power in Yuan's Hao. It has completely failed to keep up with the fast pace of the Yan family. Although I heard recently that the Lan family is interested in contacting. But the boundaries of the Yan and Lan families are close and cannot be extended outward. Therefore, the Yan family urgently needs a new ally. The Zhang family in Pingzhou is a good choice. Yan Qingxun and Zhang Huayin have been competing for a while, and they admire each other's ability. They are a man who can judge the situation, be brave and resourceful. It is worry-free to make friends with each other. The key is that Zhang Huayin's lineage has a very good attitude towards the Yan family. The two sides have fought bloody battles together and know the foundation. The meeting is over. After that, the Yan family sent people here to discuss various measures with Zhang Huayin. Because these are all temporary ideas, Yan Zikang has to reallocate manpower on the Yan family side. And Yan Qingxun borrowed the Zhang family's territory to practice and recuperate. After a few days, he was escorted by the Yan and Zhang families and headed towards the Weiqiu Mountains where the sword-hidden secret realm is located. In the Weiqiu Mountains, there is a Minqiu Peak, which is the base where Daojian Peak is stationed. Yan Qingxun also ended up here. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 230, Master Himo, Sword Maniac Guan Su. There is only one market on the outskirts of the Weiqiu Mountains, and the rest of the area is deserted and uninhabited. After all, this is the location of the secret realm belonging to the Langhun sect, and other forces dare not approach it. Deep in the mountains, in the dense forest, there is a waterfall. Next to the waterfall is an antique palace. Yan Qingxun fell into it. A black-haired old man with a faint fairy spirit and a blue robe appeared in front of the former. Yan Qingxun, meet Master Himo, Yan Qingxun said respectfully. There are two Yuanying masters in the Daojian Peak of the Langhun sect. One is the Peak Master Honglu, and the other is Master Himo in front of him. According to legend, Master Himo is not from Zhongyan, but has come all the way from the East China Sea area and joined the Langhun sect. He is also a genius and has entered the Yuanying stage before he was 300 years old. Yan Qingxun had often heard of him before, but had never seen his true face. I think he often guards this secret realm of Jianzhang. Are you Yan Qingxun? The disciple that the Peak Master accepted on behalf of Master Jingshan. Master Himo obviously had a strong interest in him. He admired Jingshan very much. It's the junior, Yan Qingxun said respectfully, and felt that the other person's breath was very soothing, giving people a sense of peace. Did the Peak Master ask you to inherit the sword world that swallowed the stars? Yes. Have you built your own sword world? It's a rough outline, the two asked and answered, and finally, Master Himo was obviously satisfied. Not bad, not bad, you are much more pleasing to the eye than my disciple. He smiled and pointed to a small mountain in the distance, and said, you go to Helen Peak to find your fellow disciples first, and wait until all the people who want to enter the sword-hidden secret realm are here, and then I will send you in together. The sword cultivators who entered the secret realm this time came from all over the world. Each party was different from Guangzhou, where the Weiqiu Mountains were located, so the arrival time was also different. Even if Yan Qingxun took a detour to Zhang's house, he was also the first one to arrive. Yes, Yan Qingxun felt that the real person in front of him was kinda unapproachable. He secretly wondered what kind of sword world the other person belonged to. After receiving a token from Himo, Yan Qingxun turned around and said goodbye, heading towards the so-called Helen Peak. Helen Peak seemed to be full of people. Many Dao Jiangfeng disciples and elders were stationed here. It was also considered a part of Langhuan's sect. Under the guidance of the disciples, Yan Qingxun came to a temporary cave. Just as he was about to go in, two familiar people came towards him. It was Feng Qinglian and Guansu who arrived at the Kikyu Mountains before him. Junior brother Yan, senior sister Feng. Senior brother Guansu had an ordinary appearance, a round nose and thick eyebrows, and a medium build. He looked a little dull, but he exuded a fierce beast aura, like a tiger coming down the mountain, hiding great power. He didn't look like a sword cultivator, but more like a physical cultivator. Junior brother Yan, you came just in time. Let's catch up, Feng Qinglian said with a smile, and forced Yan Qingxun to enter the cave. The three of them found a place to sit down. In fact, old Chen's Yan Qingxun didn't want to chat with the two little guys. He would rather practice more and review his swordsmanship with his time. But the other party was enthusiastic, and he would meet him every time he looked up and down, so he obeyed. He took out the token he got from Himo's Henrin and asked, Sister Feng, do you know what this is? The other party replied, this is the magic weapon exorcist order. In the sword-hidden secret realm, there is a formation set up by the sect. Using it can expel others from the secret realm. Seeing that Yan Qingxun was still a little confused, Feng Qinglian added, this time the sword-hidden secret realm is opened, and outsiders are invited to enter. However, it is difficult to know whether the other party has evil intentions and wants to destroy the secret realm. This exorcist order is a guarantee. You can rest assured that there are also monitoring methods in the secret realm. If an accident occurs, the sect will notify us. There is no need to be vigilant all the time. Comprehending the sword is what we need to do most. After hearing what the other party said, Yan Qingxun nodded secretly. At the same time, a light flashed in his eyes. This exorcist order and the matching formation are good things. The Yan family can also prepare a set, and then they can use the Xianzhou secret realm to make some extra money. Yan Qingxun heard that a place in the sword-hidden secret realm can be worth tens of millions of spirit stones. It is indeed fast to come to spirit stones. By the way, Junior brother Yan, when you came here earlier, did you notice any sword cultivators from other sects? Feng Qinglian asked again. No, I just arrived and you dragged me here. Fortunately you didn't meet him. Ruan Sihun is so annoying, Yan Qingxun asked curiously. Ruan Sihun? Isn't he a disciple of Kui Wei Sword Pavilion? Why is he here too? I don't know either. It should be an exchange of interests from above. The main thing is that this guy likes to meddle in other people's business. I was practicing sword in the back mountain and he sensed it. He just wanted to come over to teach me. I couldn't drive him away, which made me sick. If you don't know, you would think he is my master, Feng Qinglian said coquettishly. Senior sister Feng, have you fought with Ruan Sihun? The person who spoke was not Yan Qingxun, but Guansu, who was silent at the side. I really couldn't stand it, Feng Qinglian said so. Senior sister Feng, what do you think of his strength? He is indeed very strong. I am not him, Feng Qinglian frowned slightly. After hearing this, Guansu did not comfort the other party, but showed joy. Then, he looked at Yan Qingxun and asked, Junior brother Yan, I am going to find Ruan Sihun to spar with. Do you want to go? Guansu is a sword fanatic and likes to find someone to practice sword. He has been challenged all over Daojian Peak. Not only that, when he was in Longming County, Ruan Sihun of Beihou sect, Mo Yingzhong of Mo family, and Long Kainai of Long family were very popular. At that time, Guansu actually wanted to choose a family to challenge, but he happened to be discovered by Master Honglu, brought back to Langhuan sect, and accepted as a disciple. This incident also made him lose the opportunity to fight with the previous three. There are still 5 years before the Longming sword meeting. Now the opportunity is right in front of him. How can Guansu bear so much? Brother Guan, I won't go. Yan Qingxun waved his hand. He is no longer at this age of passion. He will not do sparring if there is no benefit at all. What a pity, Guansu sighed, but his eyes were fixed on Yan Qingxun. In fact, Guansu wanted to fight the junior brother in front of him more. As a disciple of Master Honglu, he naturally knew that Yan Qingxun was a disciple of Master Jingshan, and he also knew Master Honglu's expectations for the latter. His master valued others more, which made Guansu somewhat dissatisfied. And Yan Qingxun has never really taken action since he entered Daojian Peak. He also chose to give up the entry competition that year. In Daojian Peak, either you stay in seclusion or return to your family. There are very few opportunities to face each other, let alone spar. What Guansu said before, that he wanted to challenge Ru and Sihuan, was mainly to drag Yan Qingsun down. See what the opponent's strength is. But I didn't expect that this person was still shrinking. Sword cultivators should have the courage to move forward and not be afraid of setbacks. This junior brother Yan may be talented, but his character is not good, Guansu thought to himself. Chapter 231, Entering the Sword-Hidden Secret Realm, Li Yi's Linglong Sword Body. Mingxin sect is 9,000 miles away from the Kikyu Mountains. 3 giant elders are discussing the affairs of the sect. They are Master Wenzhong, Ho Jinglong, and Elder Zhang Yi, who has just broken through the giant realm. At this moment, Zhang Yi's expression suddenly changed, and he took out a magic disc and said with some surprise, Elder Wenzhong, Elder Jinglong, there's news about the murder of our sect disciples. The magic disc in Zhang Yi's hand is a low-grade magic weapon called Lingjizuan Ming Disc, which has the effect of tracing ki. Is this true? Ho Jinglong, who was still immersed in the pain of losing his granddaughter, changed his expression drastically, raised his momentum, stood up, and probably roared. Zhang Yi placed a magic disc in front of the other 2 fellow disciples and said, the Lingjizuan Ming Disc can sense the murderer who killed Lingyu. He is within a range of 10,000 miles and points to the direction, which is in the north. However, Ho Yuan's death should not be caused by the same person, otherwise the magic disc would have a hint. In order for the Lingjizuan Ming Discs to have this tracking effect, it also costs Mingxin sect a lot of spiritual stones, and it has other functions. Therefore, it can only mark the life experience of a small number of Mingxin sect disciples. There were 3 people from Mingxin sect who entered the Xianzhou secret realm at the beginning. In addition to Lang Yu and Ho Yuan, there was also a disciple named Bai. The latter could not use the Lingjizuan Ming Discs to lock the aura and find the murderer. The murderers of Lang Yu and my granddaughter must be the same group of people. If we find one, we can find out everything. Ho Jinglong said so, and called out impatiently, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and follow the hint of the magic weapon and start looking, let's go. Several high-level members of Mingxin sect fled into the air without even notifying the disciples in the sect, fearing that the other party would run away again if they were too late. It was so hard to appear in the range. If they escaped, it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack in the future. The 3 of them fled all the way. The closer they got to the target, the more obvious the hint of the Lingjizuan Ming Disc became. Suddenly, Master Wenzhong in the void stopped, and worry flashed in his eyes. Kikyu Mountain Range. The other 2 also stopped unconsciously and said the name of the territory in front of them with fear. Mingxin sect was originally a Guangzhou force, and its understanding of Guangzhou is not too deep. Therefore, they also knew where the Kikyu Mountain Range was, whose territory it was, and who would be in it. The secret realm of the sword hidden in the Langhuan sect was buried here. It was heavily guarded. No one dared to approach without permission. And those who might get permission from the other party were mostly forces of the Yuaning Dao sect. If the murderer who killed Lang Yu was among them, his identity was definitely not something that their Mingxin sect could provoke. At this moment, Master Wenzhong kept winking at Zhang Yi. The latter understood and said awkwardly, I'm sorry, there is a problem with this magic disc. The fact is not on this direction, don't say it, Ho Jinglong's low voice sounded. He added, I know that if I continue to investigate, it may bring trouble to the sect. But Yuan's revenge must be avenged. From now on, I will sever ties with Mingxin sect, and I will bear all the consequences alone. Ho Jinglong's eyes flashed with determination, but more of it was helplessness and bitterness. On the other side, Yan Qingsun didn't know the situation of Mingxin sect at this moment. The sword-hidden secret realm was about to open, and a group of sword cultivators were about to enter it. Next to Yan Qingsun was a middle-aged man with a mature appearance. He was tall and thin, and the most special thing was that he liked to hold a long sword in his hand. You know, because of the existence of storage bags, normal cultivators put their spiritual objects into storage bags, which would not affect their own performance and could be used at any time, which was convenient and fast. Therefore, Yan Qingsun also looked at the other person twice more with curiosity. This person's name was Li Yi, and he was a sword cultivator of Wuji sword sect. He looked like he was 50 years old, but in fact he was only less than 40, just a little older than Yan Qingsun. Generally, cultivators look younger as their cultivation level improves, and it is rare to look as old as Li Yi. As for why the other party followed Yan Qingsun, it all started with the sword-hidden secret realm. The sword-hidden secret realm actually evolved from an ancient battlefield. It was not a battlefield for cultivators, but a battle between mortals, and they were all mortals using swords. In that unrecorded battle, it was unknown how many people died and how many broken swords were left behind. Over thousands of years, the corpses of these mortals were gradually transformed into the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, which gathered on those fallen swords. The two interacted with each other, and with the assistance of the right time and place, such a sword-hidden secret realm was generated. The secret realm is full of spiritual swords. Sword cultivators can understand the sword meaning and improve their swordsmanship by communicating with these thousands of strange swords. The swords in the sword-hidden secret realm are strong and weak. There are innate swords, there are acquired swords, there are good swords, there are also fierce swords, and killing swords. Therefore, it is still dangerous for foundation-building cultivators. This secret realm was originally open to the Golden Core Master. Yan Lingyu accompanied Lingyu to ensure his safety in the secret realm. After all, the Langhuan sect could not tell others about the various secrets in the sword-hidden secret realm. In addition, this also has a surveillance function. If Lingyu intends to destroy the secret realm, Yan Lingyu can arrive at the first time and use the exorcism order to expel the other party from the secret realm. Li Daoyao, please, at the signal of Himo's Henrun, Yan Lingyu said to Li Yi. The two of them crossed the barrier at the same time and came to the real Sword Dao secret realm. This is a deep valley, surrounded by a desolate area. There are no fish, insects, beasts or birds. Instead, there are swords that are flying, deeply rooted in the soil, growing on stone walls, or decaying in ponds. The strong breath of sword hits the face. This is a place that every sword cultivator dreams of. Yan Lingyu felt a movement in his body at the first time. His natural sword body seemed to resonate with the surrounding environment. He took a deep breath and tried his best to suppress the effect of the sword body to prevent people around him from noticing anything unusual. You are very strong. Suddenly, a slightly hoarse voice came from behind Yan Lingyu. It was Li Yi. The former was a little surprised, not knowing what the other party meant by this. I am not your opponent, and Ruan Sihun and Guansu are not your opponents either, not now, and not on the future. I hope to have the opportunity to learn from you in the future. Yan Lingyu was confused by Li Yi's words. It is worth mentioning that his senior brother Guansu did go to Ruan Sihun to spar, and Ruan Sihun narrowly won. And he himself did not make a move throughout the whole process. Dao Ali, what do you mean? Although Yan Lingyu's face was full of suspicion, his heart was depressed. I am Linglong's sword body, and I have a special perception of things related to the sword. These are all told to me by Linglong's sword body, and Linglong's sword body showed the intention of surrendering for the first time, Li Yu said. He didn't seem to care about the exposure of his own information. But he didn't care, but Yan Lingyu did. The latter knew that he couldn't stay with the other party anymore, otherwise who knows what this guy's weird sword body would find out. Friend Li, let's not talk about this for now. When you enter the sword-hidden secret realm, your main focus should be on cultivation. After I take you to a safe place, you can concentrate on comprehending the way of the sword, and no one will disturb you, Yan Lingyu said, urging him intentionally. Chapter 232, The Sword Has Spirit, New Ideas. Let Li Yi from Wuji Sword Sect follow behind. Yan Lingyu's face was indifferent, but he was secretly reflecting in his heart, from entering Langhuan Sect, the subsequent Xianzhou Secret Realm, killing monsters on Qinghai Lake, killing Mingxian Sect disciples, and understanding swords in the Sutra Pavilion, all of these things were too easy for me. At the same time, although the sect is involuted, the environment is relatively comfortable. Under this circumstance, I gradually became lazy and conceited, which is not desirable. Yan Lingyu found that he became impetuous. Perhaps it was also related to this young and restless body. It must be admitted that at the beginning, Yan Lingyu did not take this high disciple from Wuji Sword Sect seriously, and even in his eyes, he had slowly compared him with Master Honglu and Master Jingshan. And Li Yi's words made him come back to his senses and not underestimate all cultivators. Yan Lingyu understood that this was definitely a bad thing. So, he had to find an opportunity to adjust this state back. After that, Yan Lingyu and Li Yi exchanged another sentence. The two walked through the secret realm, one in front and one behind. Although the environment in the sword-hidden secret realm is a deep valley, its scope is not small. It is roughly estimated that it covers an area of 500 miles. Because of the special environment, the two did not use flying, but simply walked on their legs. After a day, they finally stopped. Yan Qingxuan clasped his fists to Li Yi and said, "This area is in the secret realm, suitable for foundation-building cultivators to practice and comprehend the Tao. Fellow Taoist Li can comprehend the sword here. After that, I will leave and give you enough space." "Thank you, fellow Taoist Yan." Li Yi also came back, but he added at the end, "Fellow Taoist Yan, after leaving the secret realm, I hope to make friends with you. If you can go to my Wuji sword sect, it will be even better. Fellow Taoist Li, you should focus on the Longming sword meeting. This matter can be discussed later." Yan Qingxuan did not respond clearly, but said vaguely. He always felt that this Li Yi was full of weirdness. After saying goodbye, Yan Qingxuan chose a direction to set off. Not long after, he found a place similar to the ruins of a village, and prepared to practice swordsmanship there. He was not afraid of other cultivators spying on him. The sword-hidden secret realm was full of restrictions that obscured spiritual consciousness, some of which were built by the secret realm itself, and some were built by the Langhuan sect. This spying was originally a taboo for cultivators, and the Langhuan sect was naturally prepared. Despite this, Yan Qingxuan still set up a formation himself, just in case. Don't forget that he also has attainments in formations. At this moment, this Yan family disciple finally couldn't suppress the fluctuations of his natural sword body. He only felt that there was a cold current washing his body through his 8 meridians, bones, flesh and blood. Buzz 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 buzz. After he completely released his natural sword body, there was a sound coming from the surrounding heaven and earth. In this hidden secret realm, swords can be seen everywhere. And the sound came from these swords. The sword body trembled slightly, like the sound of cicadas. They seemed to be calling Yan Qingxuan. The latter also saw this scene for the first time. I don't know whether it's good or bad. In front of him, there is an ancient well that has been filled with sand. In the crack of the ancient well, there is a rusty iron sword. Judging from its material, it is indeed an ordinary sword. But because of Yan Qingxuan's appearance, it shows amazing spirituality. Perhaps because this iron sword is closest to people, it trembles most violently, almost wanting to break away from the crack of the stone and throw itself into the arms of the other party. Yan Qingxuan is a little curious. Although he doesn't know what this is, he understands that this strange thing is caused by him. To be precise, it appears because of the natural sword body. Reaching out, tentatively touching the rusty sword. As soon as he touched it, Yan Qingxuan seemed to be pulled into dream space. He became the sword and experienced the life of the sword. From the sword being made, to the soldier using it, and finally to it being inserted into the wall of the well and sinking. He is the sword, and the sword is him. But after Yan Qingxuan woke up again, the rusty sword in front of him stopped trembling, became docile, and gently stuck to his hand. Is this also the effect of the natural sword body? The young man was somewhat puzzled. According to the information from Daojian Peak, none of his fellow disciples had experienced this phenomenon of feeling the life of a sword. Yan Qingxuan moved his body and came to another sword. Unlike the previous one, this one was relatively complete and was suspended in midair. But the same thing was that Yan Qingxuan could also feel its experience. Yan Qingxuan had some vague guesses. These swords might really have spirits. In this life, he had also come into contact with many swords, including ordinary swords, magic swords, and spiritual swords, but he encountered this situation today. Excluding other possibilities, it was because there was a problem with both the sword and him that a reaction occurred. Don't think that being able to see the life of a sword is useless. In fact, this is an opportunity that every sword cultivator dreams of. The sword accompanies the sword cultivator. Being able to understand the sword better and comprehend the sword more will only be good for the sword. After understanding this, Yan Qingxuan began to wander between heaven and earth. In the secret realm of swords, there may be nothing else, but there are the most swords. Yan Qingxuan comprehended the life of each sword. Suddenly, he stopped and fell into deep thought. He realized that the sword world he had originally constructed was still missing one thing. That is the sword. The people that Yan Qingxuan envisioned were mortals. They were not as powerful as the prehistoric beasts, nor were they as massive as the thousands of stars. Mortals need tools. Just like Zhuangzi, he was able to successfully assassinate King Liao of Wu, and he also needed the Yecheng sword. Therefore, Yan Qingxuan's sword world requires both people and swords to carry his sword. And where does the image of sword come from? Yan Qingxuan stared at the different swords in front of him with shining eyes. Isn't the sword here? At this point, he understood that this was the best time to build the world. Yan Qingxun held his breath and concentrated, entering a state of selflessness and sword only. The natural sword body in his body kept flowing, causing sword light to burst out all over his body. At the same time, he recalled the sword of death in his sea of consciousness, and gradually a burly figure holding a sword gradually became clear in his consciousness. With the framework of the Sword of Four Seasons, it is easy to build a world of swordsmanship. After an unknown amount of time, Yan Qingxun suddenly opened his eyes, used his finger to represent the sword, and pointed forward. In an instant, the sky and the earth were dark, and a tall shadow about 10 feet tall could be seen standing behind the former. The shadow's specific appearance could not be seen clearly, and his clothes were also rough. At the same time, he raised his sword and slashed in the direction pointed by Yan Qingxun. The light passed by, the sword energy was crisscrossed, the space was shaken, and the damaged house not far away instantly turned into nothingness. The power of this sword is equivalent to that of the Autumn Water Sword. When Yan Qingxun condensed the Autumn Water Sword, it took a full 6 months of preparation work before and after. This unknown sword, just after the realization, has such momentum. However, Yan Qingxun was not moved by it, and there was no change in his expression. He knew that his world of swordsmanship had just begun. If he wanted to fully create this Huanzu sword, it was not enough to just rely on the death sword technique as a foundation. He still had a long way to go. Time passed in a flash, and 3 years had passed. Chapter 233. 3 years later, another golden elixir appears. After sending Yan Qingxun to the sword-hidden secret realm, the Yan family continued its own development. On this day, Chennai Mountain, Urkso Peak. An old man's sigh echoed throughout the Urkso Peak. Yan Lingsu's already old face looked even more dead, and his body exuded a strong sense of dusk and scattered spiritual energy. The whole person looked extremely haggard. Even if he was sitting cross-legged, his body was shaky and he almost fainted. His Taoist robe was soaked with sweat. It still failed. Yan Lingsu's eyes flashed with unwillingness, and then relief. Half a year ago, he found an opportunity to condense the pill in the Xianzhou secret realm. But the human cultivator's condensation of the pill was too noisy, which would affect the environment of the secret realm. Therefore, he withdrew from it and wanted to try to break through the shackles in Chennai Mountain and become a golden pill. After half a year of brewing, he finally took this step. Unfortunately, without the blessing of the Xianzhou secret realm, it was still difficult for Yan Lingyu to successfully condense the pill. In the end, it ended in failure. Now he has a hidden disease, and the prepared evil spirit has been consumed, and there are not many elixirs left. It is impossible for him to condense the pill again. Slowly getting up, Yan Lingyu put away the remaining pills. Even though he is weak now and needs to recuperate, he is reluctant to use these pills. He is a dying man, so the pills should be left to the tribesmen who need them more. Yan Lingyu came out of the cave, and Yan Shanyang was waiting anxiously outside. Grandpa, Yan Shanyang's eyes were filled with tears. He had already learned about Yan Lingsu's situation. If the pill was successfully condensed, he would rest and recuperate in the cave. Only if it failed, would he rush out. Shengyang, how old are you, and you are complaining bitterly? How can you be disgraceful? Yan Lingsu's face was serious, and he pretended to be angry. The matter of cultivating the Tao is against the will of heaven. I, Yan Lingyu, am satisfied with what I have achieved today. Don't be sad for me, Yan Lingyu said again. At this point, Yan Shanyang was slightly cheered up and indifferent to reality. At this moment, a violent fluctuation of spiritual energy spread from the next mountain. Yan Lingyu felt this fluctuation, his expression froze, and then he was happy again. Good, Xianzong, that kid actually succeeded. Yes, this fluctuation of spiritual energy means that a cultivator has successfully condensed the elixir and entered the golden elixir realm. And Yan Xianzong was in seclusion on that mountain. The latter was the most talented person of the Yan family's Xian generation, and he was not affected in the Battle of Fu Minimum. The Yan family also believed that the probability of Yan Xianzong's advancement to the golden elixir was still very high. Now, with Yan Xianzong's success in condensing the elixir, the overall strength of the Yan family in the Central Plains has reached a new level, with a total of 3 golden elixir cultivators. At this moment, the haze in Yan Lingsu's eyes was swept away. There was only surprise. He was not worried at all about his failure in condensing the pill. I knew that Xianzong could do it, Yan Lingyu smiled. Fifth brother's talent is indeed the best among all the brothers. Yan Shanyang was also really happy for his brother. It's good to break through. It's good to break through, Yan Lingyu kept repeating. In fact, he was afraid that the Yan family's late foundation building people would all fail to condense the pill, which would be a huge blow to the Yan family. It would be enough if one of the four could succeed. Now I feel relieved, I can retreat behind the scenes and serve the family, Yan Lingyu thought to himself. In recent years, the Yan family has paid too much to support him in condensing the pill. And Yan Lingyu was busy condensing the pill and only asked for it. This made him feel guilty. Especially at the moment of failure. It was not until now that he breathed a sigh of relief. Yan Lingyu was also open-minded, and he could use his failure to exchange for Yan Xianzong's success. Thinking of this, he still had some credit, because when he was condensing the pill, he knew that he would fail, so he dispersed and absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. If he had insisted on it and swept away some of the spiritual energy, Yan Xianzong might have failed. After thinking for a while, Yan Lingyu took Yan Shanyang and turned into light, heading towards the main peak of Chennaian Mountain. 14th brother, Yan Lingyu looked at his brother in front of him, feeling endless helplessness. From the other's breath, it can be seen that Yan Lingyu failed to break through. Among the 7 generations of the Yan family, Yan Lingyu and Yan Lingyu have the best relationship, and they have been together for nearly 200 years. From Yulin to Chennaian Mountain now, the relationship between the two is deep to the extreme. But fate is hard to change, and people have a lifespan. After losing Yan Lingyu, the Yan family will lose Yan Lingyu in the near future. The Ling generation will only become fewer and fewer. Lingwen, Xianzong succeeded in condensing the pill. Yan Lingyu looked at his younger cousin, feeling envious in his heart, and at the same time, he also felt the other's emotions, and spoke in a gentle manner. Xianzong's talent is higher than mine, and equal to Zinkang's. Moreover, he is still young, less than 120 years old now, and can lead the Yan family to go further. Yan Lingyu showed a bitter smile. Those little guys will depend on you to take care of them in the future. Yes, Yan Lingyu continued, now I am also out of retreat. Xianzong still needs to rest. Zinkang is still recovering from his injuries. Is there anything the clan needs me for? Since the last time Yan Zinkang and Hai Chongyang had a fake play, the former has been recovering from his injuries. Most of the clan's major events are presided over by Yan Lingyu. Someone needs to maintain the relationship with the Lan family. 14th brother, please do this, Yan Lingyu said. Yes, at this time, the movement of Yan Xianzong's condensation of the pill had attracted many members of the Yan family. Many members of the clan had seen the scene of Yan Lingyu condensing the pill, so they guessed that another golden pill cultivator had been born in the family. The entire Chennaian Mountain was in joy. Later, Yan Lingyu retreated, leaving only Yan Lingyu here. The latter thought, Zinkang's injury has almost recovered. When Xianzong comes out of retreat, I can also help Yan Nian find a breakthrough opportunity. Yan Nian is the golden catfish lurking at the bottom of Chen's. This monster was somewhat resistant when it was first kept in captivity by the Yan family. But even a 4th-level monster cannot escape the law of true fragrance. Yan Nian was raised by the Yan family to be wide and fat, and with the nourishment of the Xianzhou secret realm, he has reached the edge of the 5th level. As long as he has a certain amount of blood power, he can become a 5th-level monster and have the strength of a human giant and cultivator. After enjoying the benefits, the Yan family now wants to drive him away, but I'm afraid he will refuse to leave. In fact, it is indeed like this. Yan Nian has truly become a member of the Yan family. Not only that, in the past 3 years, the Yan family has continuously returned land to the marsh, expanding the area of the marsh from the original 500 miles to 600 miles. In addition, the fish and beasts in Chen's have reproduced rapidly, with a wide variety of species. Under the management of Yan Nian, it has become a natural barrier for the Yan family. Because of Chen's existence, the Yan family's low-level clansmen and Kigan practitioners also have a place to hone their skills nearby. Yan Lingyu slowly raised his head, looked toward the sky, and said leisurely, Brother Jiu, have you seen it? The Yan family is getting stronger and stronger. Chapter 234 Yan Qingfeng, Brother and Sister Reunion. In the courtyard, Yan Qingfeng, who looked mature, stood there, and he was with a young woman and a naughty boy. Yan Qingfeng was Yan Qingxuan's second brother, and he was also from the Qingling county of the Yan family. As an outstanding descendant of the Yan family, he also followed the Yan family into the Central Plains, wanting to enter a big force and bring shelter to the family. Unfortunately, he failed. In the Central Plains where there were many talents, his talent was dwarfed and inferior to others. Later, the Yan family entered Chennai Mountain, and Yan Qingfeng was transferred from another place to contribute to the development of the family. Although he was not ranked in the entire Lingyu County, he also played a huge role within the Yan family. He was also the first batch of Yan family King's generation to enter the foundation building. After his cultivation was stable, Yan Qingfeng began to pass on the family lineage, continue the bloodline for the family, and increase the family's strength. Ming Sun is his wife, a member of the small family Ming family. The two got to know each other in the power transaction and finally got together. The wedding of the two was not too grand. After a hasty wedding, they started to make babies. In 7 years, Ming Sun gave birth to 5 children for Yan Qingfeng. But unfortunately, only one of them had spiritual roots. The Yan family was now short of manpower, and Yan Qingfeng himself had to complete his tasks. No one could take care of the children, so he had no choice but to send them to the Yan family in the mortal world. Although they only had one child with spiritual roots, it seemed as if the heavens had compensated for it. The last boy born was Yan Shan, who had heavenly spiritual roots. Yan Qingfeng stood upright, looking at his own son with a deep smile on his face. Every parent hopes that their son will become a dragon, and so does he. Moreover, Yan Shan has a great talent. If he is well trained, he will definitely be a giant and cultivator in the future, and he will be able to support half of the Yan family. Yan Qingfeng is proud of his son. "Husband, do you really want to send her away? Can't you ask the elders?" Suddenly, Ming Sun walked in front of Yan Qingfeng, pleading with reluctance in her eyes. "They have received the family's policy. Yan Shan will be sent to the upper sect at the right age to be trained by the Yuanying forces. At the same time, it will also find a fate for the Yan family. But as a mother, how can she let her young child stay away from her? What's more, this is their first child with spiritual roots." Therefore, Ming Sun said this. It is completely out of maternal love. Yan Qingfeng's expression was solemn, with a firm look in his eyes, and at the same time he comforted his wife. The Yan family is shallow and cannot give here the best resources and education. It is wise to send him to the upper sect so that here can fully develop his talents. And although here has joined the sect, he is not unable to come back. After King Sun and King An entered the Langhuan sect, didn't they often come back to visit their family and share the worries of the family? In the future, you can still see here, but Ming Sun frowned slightly, and was about to say something, but suddenly stopped. Because Yan Shan had staggered to them. Dong, 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 Dad, Mom, look, a wave drum. Little Yan Shan stretched out his chubby little hands and kept shaking the toy in his hands, with an especially bright smile on his face. "Oh, my dear." Seeing this scene, Ming Sun couldn't help but hold the boy in her arms. Mom, Mom, the children's laughter echoed in the yard. Yan Qingfeng also smiled rarely. With such a wife and children, what else could a husband ask for? "Axun, take her into the inner room first." Then, as if sensing something, Yan Qingfeng sent a voice message to Ming Sun. Then, he turned around and walked to the main hall. There were 2 members of the Yan family waiting there, and their ages were not much different from Yan Qingfeng. Second brother, King Min, King Chang, why are you here?" The 2 people who came here were Yan Qingmin and Yan Qingchang, who were both from the Qingling County lineage. Now Yan Qingchang has already established his foundation, and Yan Qingmin is still in the 9th level of key training, waiting for an opportunity to break through because the practice of Zhuangxi Shumianju will slow down the speed of practice. "We are ready to return to Qingling County. Today we come to say goodbye to you," Yan Qingchang said calmly. This, Yan Qingfeng was a little puzzled and reluctant. The 3 of them were very close to each other when they were in Qingling County, almost to the point of being inseparable. "It's arranged by the family." Yan Qingmin smiled and continued. "Many senior officials in Qingling County who are stuck in the bottleneck will be sent to Chennai Mountain to receive the baptism of Xianzhou Secret Realm, including the elders of Xinghui. Qingling County will be in urgent need of manpower at that time, so we will go back to the latter." Yan Xinghui was also in the late stage of foundation building, close to the golden elixir. And he is also a puppeteer, which is extremely important to the development of the Yan family in the Central Plains. Now it is time for the Qing generation to take charge and contribute to the Yan family. "Take care." Yan Qingfeng looked serious. He knew that if they wanted to see each other again after today's separation, They would have to wait 10 years. By the way, does the 10th brother know? Yan Qingfang suddenly asked. Their 10th brother was Yan Qingxun. He doesn't know. I think the 10th brother should be very busy, and we don't want to disturb him, Yan Qingmin said. That's true. By the way, King Cheng, Qingmin, what are your plans when you go back? What plans? You are not young anymore. It's time to consider passing on the family's bloodline. Ha ha ha. Second brother, don't say anything. King Cheng was crying yesterday. Qingmin. Shut up. King Cheng has been pursuing the girl from the Lan family recently. Now they are separated. When he returns to Chennai Mountain again, the girl may have married and have children. Is this true? King Cheng, tell the family will agree to let you stay in Taiyuan. Second brother, don't listen to Qingmin's nonsense. There is no such thing at all, not to mention that the family has paid too much for me. I have to repay the family and can only return to Qingling County. The three siblings teased each other, as if they were back to the days when they were still in Anyan Villa. Because in the family, the three did not release their spiritual consciousness to explore the surroundings. At this moment, outside the hall, Yan Qingfang's wife Mingxun was secretly eavesdropping. This outsider of the Yan family was deeply moved when he saw the scene in front of him. Although the Ming family is small, they also know what Qingling County and Xiaonan County are. There are a shortage of resources there, and there are no rare items like the Xianzhou secret realm to assist in cultivation. When these members of the Yan family go back, it means losing the possibility of further progress. But the family arranged for them to go back, and they did not complain at all. They even felt honored and were eager to leave. Yan Qingcheng was willing to give up his lover. This made Mingxun feel ashamed of her previous thoughts about Yan Shan. This is why my father asked me to say less, do less, and watch more. After marrying into the Yan family, Mingxun discovered the difference between the Yan and Ming families. She found that the Yan family members were too selfless, and everything was based on the interests of the family. If it were the Ming family, no one would be willing to go to that poor and remote place. Mingxun also realized that the reason why the Yan family was so powerful was not just because of Yan Qingxun or the giant and cultivators of the Yan family. Chapter 235 Yan Xingcan comes out of retreat to help Hai Chonggang. Just as Yan Qingfang and the two clansmen were meeting, at the highest point of Chennai Mountain, in Yan Xingcang's residence, the owner of the residence woke up from meditation and slowly opened his eyes. A light green light emanated from Yan Xingcang's eyes, as if to penetrate the surrounding restrictions. Wood spirit gathered around him, setting off the white Taoist robe. A breath of spring emanated from Yan Xingcang. I really got a blessing in disguise, he exhaled and sighed. At this moment, the realm barrier that had imprisoned him for who knows how long finally showed signs of loosening. This means that Yan Xingcan can step into the threshold of the middle stage of the Golden Core at any time and reach a higher level of cultivation. Since he acted with Hai Chonggang, he was seriously injured and has been recuperating. He will only come forward when important decisions are made in the Yan family. Usually, the family is managed by the head of the family in Yan Lingyu. In the past 3 years, he has made significant progress while recuperating and practicing. It is unknown whether it is the influence of the new practice method or the fact that Hai Chonggang opened up his tendons. Anyway, Yan Zikang now feels refreshed and his future is bright. After coming out of the retreat cave, several messages floated in front of him. Hi family, Yan Zikang murmured and looked at one of the messages. Although he was in retreat, he was not completely isolated from external communications. If there was a major event that endangered the family, the information would still pass the ban and enter the cave, and he would know it. And the fact that this situation did not happen before means that the content of these messages is important, but it will not affect the foundation of the Yan family. Yan Zikang reached out and took the Hai family's message, and probed his spiritual consciousness into it. After a while, he had some understanding of the situation of the Hai family. The internal competition of the sects is fierce. It is not only the Langhuan sect, but also other forces in the Central Plains. And the Hai family, far away in Daluo County, is deeply involved in the competition for power and interests. In other words, it is involved by Hai Yumo in the Wuhan Hall. The general situation is that Hai Yumo has obtained a privilege, but this privilege is coveted by many parties, and they put pressure on the Hai family. This privilege is extremely important to Hai Yumo himself and the entire Hai family. The Hai family is reluctant to give up, but it is difficult to support it alone, so they asked the Yan family for support. Yan Zikang withdrew his spiritual consciousness and fell into deep thought. Hai Chongyang was also injured in the last acting. The Hai family is now suppressed, and his injury is also the reason. Moreover, the Hai family is indeed righteous. Last time they were asked for help, Hai Chongyang nodded and agreed without even asking, and they also know the existence of the Xianzhou secret realm, but in the past 3 years, they have never sent anyone to discuss the relevant distribution of interests. I have to say that Uncle Jiu has indeed found a reliable ally and a trustworthy partner for the Yan family, so this favor, our Yan family must help. Not long after, Yan Zikang made a secret decision in his heart. Anyway, Uncle 16 has also achieved a golden core and can stay in Chennai Mountain. I will go there in person when the time comes. After thinking about it, Yan Zikang put away the secret letter from the Hai family and focused his attention on the message from his family members. Alice, Uncle 14 failed to condense the core. What a pity. The Yan family is going to lose another pillar. Oh? Xianzong has become a golden core cultivator? That's great. Now the Yan family has 3 golden cores in the Central Plains. When I become a mid-stage golden core, the Yan family's apparent combat power will be acceptable. The iron must be hard to forge. Although the Yan family has fellow disciples, the support of the Zhang family, and the relationship from the Langhuan sect, but these are not as strong as the sense of security brought by the improvement of their own strength. Looking at the reports of the family situation, Yan Zikang's expression changed back and forth between joy and sighs. It seems that worrying about family affairs is a tradition of the Yan family. From Yan Ping, to Liu Yuxi, Yan Lingyu, to Yan Zikang, and Yan Lingwen. They all spent their precious time on the family. In other sects, those high-ranking clan elders and supreme elders are more concerned about their own cultivation. Yan Zikang moved his mind, cast a spell in the void, and then turned into a light of escape, heading towards Chen's. Uncle 16, Zikang, you finally came out of retreat? Have you recovered completely from your injuries? Yes, Yan Zikang went to find Yan Lingwen specifically, and the two talked face to face. Well, since you have come out of retreat, you will be in charge of the family, and I need to go out for a while, Yan Lingwen then added. According to reliable information, a 4th-level white-bearded dragon catfish appeared in Dalo County, with the blood of ancient dragonfish. Now Yan Nian is in the most critical period of evolution. If we can get this white-bearded dragon catfish, my Yan family will add another golden elixir combat power. After hearing the other party's words, Yan Zikang's original plan changed, and he spoke out and roughly described the situation of the Hai family. The Hai family is our ally, and Senior Hai is also close to Uncle 9. Since Uncle 16 is going to Dalo County, I hope Uncle 16 can help take care of the Hai family. The golden catfish of the Yan family is best friends with Yan Lingwen, so Yan Lingwen is the only one who can find the white-bearded dragon catfish. Now Yan Xianzong has not come out of retreat, and Yan Zikang has to prepare for the middle stage of the golden elixir. Therefore, Yan Lingwen is the best candidate to help the Hai family. Moreover, if the golden catfish succeeds in the 5th stage, it can also provide greater help to the Hai family. Yes, Yan Lingwen nodded solemnly and said, Friend Hai, I am also familiar with him. He has indeed provided a lot of help to the Yan family. We have to give back in public and private. If you still can't handle it by then, send me a message. By then, I should be able to reach the middle stage of the golden elixir and contribute a lot, Yan Zikang added. By the way, Uncle 16, after Xianzong breaks through the Jinden, he also needs subsequent exercises to practice. What Xianzong has learned is also related to the art of soul. You and the fellow Taoists of the Hai family will need to think of a solution. Yes, now the Yan family has a total of 3 Jinden cultivators. And this number will increase. However, the Yan family does not have a deep foundation. There are a lot of Zhuan-level exercises, but not many high-level follow-up exercises. These Earth-level and Heaven-level exercises are all controlled by the upper forces and are difficult to pass down. This is also the reason why there are only a few dozen Yuanying forces after thousands of years. Therefore, the situation of Wikia market needs to be taken seriously by the Yan family. And the only person who can contact Wikia market is Yan Kingswin. Zikang, do you know the situation of Kingswin? Now it has been 3 years, he should have come out of the sword-hidden secret realm. In order to prevent the clan members from disturbing Yan Kingswin too much, the Yan family can contact the former only Yan Zikang. I don't know, but that kid doesn't need our concern. I'm afraid that when he comes back next time, his improved strength will scare us again. Besides, Kingswin is also sensible. If there's really any situation, he will contact us. Yan Lingyu thought about it, nodded and smiled. That's the case. Ha ha ha. Okay, then the Yan family will be taken care of by you. Xingkang, take care, Uncle 16. The two said goodbye, and Yan Lingyu turned into light and left. Chapter 236, Swordsmanship is just beginning. Sword Pavilion Challenges. Wikyu Mountains. Yan Qingxun had come out of the sword-hidden secret realm several months ago. Now he is in seclusion to consolidate what he has learned. Not only him, but also the various geniuses who entered the secret realm. Only when all the understandings are transformed into their own gains, this journey to the secret realm will have real meaning. At this moment, Yan Qingxun's aura has changed. In the past 3 years, under the effect of cultivation recovery, even if he was only comprehending the sword way and not focusing on cultivation at all, he has broken through to the middle stage of foundation building, and with the Zhuangxi Shumianju, his foundation is very solid. There is a trace of solemnity on his somewhat unkempt face. He is completely immersed in his own world of swordsmanship. In his consciousness, Yan Qingxun seemed not to be in the training room of the Wikyu Mountains, but in a peerless lonely city standing on the vast plain. In the palace in the city, there are two figures sitting facing each other. One is rough and resolute, the other is not tall and looks cold and sharp. They are both dressed in cloth and holding long swords in their hands. The two people are the ones transformed by Yan Qingxun's sword art, Yurang and Huanshu. Yes, Yan Qingxun has condensed these two sword images through his natural sword body. They are all based on the death sword, and they are integrated with 10 sword techniques, such as assassination sword art, shadow sword art, and life-taking sword art. Moreover, with the assistance of countless sword spirits in the sword-hidden secret realm, the sword art he created is several times stronger than expected. It's just that there is no trial object in the secret realm, and Yan Qingxun doesn't know what level he is now. But combined with the experience of the previous life, ordinary late foundation building is definitely not his opponent. And the power of Yurang sword and Xuanshu sword is definitely above the Four Seasons sword, and should be close to the level of earth-level Taoism. Slowly opening his eyes, Yan Qingxun exited the state of introspection of the sword world, and he was ready to come out. It's time to return to Jianfang and prepare for the Longming sword meeting. Now it's less than half a year before the sword meeting. After leaving the training room, Yan Qingxun cast a spell to inform Chen Yanshan of his own situation. At the same time, there was also a wooden letter bird, which slowly landed on his hand. Yan Qingxun put his mind into it and checked the information. This was sent by his son Yan Zinun. It was roughly about the situation in the Wikyu market. The Langhuan sect was in Langyu County, and it was very convenient to travel to the Jianzheng secret realm. And with its prestige in Langyu County, no one would want to die and cause trouble. But other forces were not like that. For example, Li Yi of the Wuji sword sect was far away in Anhu County. Even if there was a teleportation array in Dekian, it would take a year to go back and forth. And in order to ensure the safety of their own Xianjiao, the Wuji sword sect would also send protectors to follow. These protectors would not leave after Li Yi entered the Jianzheng secret realm, but waited in the Wikyu Mountains. One protector is fine, but many together are a considerable force and resources. These protectors are the main force in the Wikyu market, providing all kinds of rare treasures. And from the information sent by Yan Zinun, Xianayan Pavilion has been established. The Yan family's elixir and array skills have exchanged for a lot of spiritual materials and spiritual objects. Now many members of the Yan family have entered the Jinden stage, but they still don't have a magic weapon that suits them. These spiritual objects and materials can bring many conveniences to the young master of the Yan family. Even Yan Zinun said that he found a kind of evil spirit that is very suitable for him. Maybe he still has a chance to break through the barrier and successfully condense the pill. Seeing this, Yan Qingxun secretly reminded himself, now he is also in the middle stage of foundation building. After the Dragon Ming sword meeting is over, it is time to prepare for condensing the pill. Spiritual evil spirits like Dijing Huan Shan are available and unavailable. Maybe one day he will have to go back to the Langaya secret realm far away in the 10,000 mountains. Putting down all his thoughts, Yan Qingxun flew away on his sword, ready to find Imo's Hunrun. However, before he escaped far, the sword energy coming from below attracted his attention. Frowning, Yan Qingxun guessed that there were sword cultivators fighting. Judging from the movement, they should not be in the Jinden stage. He thought of one person unconsciously, that is Guan Su. Only this sort idiot would look for people to learn from and fight with. I hope nothing unexpected happens. After thinking about it, Yan Lingyu went to the origin of the movement. Yan Lingyu landed on the ground, and saw two young sword cultivators fighting each other. Both sides released sword lights with amazing momentum, which were far beyond the reach of ordinary foundation-building cultivators. Sure enough, as expected, one of the people in the battle was Guansu, a disciple of Master Honglu. And the one he faced was Reincarnation from Kiwei Sword Pavilion. If you think about it carefully, you can understand it. After coming out of the sword-hidden secret realm, not only Yan Lingyu benefited a lot, but Guansu must have made great progress. And with the latter's personality, he naturally couldn't suppress his restlessness and wanted to try his skills. In the Weikyu Mountains, the most famous peer is Reincarnation, and Guansu was slightly inferior to him before, so he naturally wanted to get back at him. But the current situation is extremely unfavorable to Guansu. Yan Lingyu can see that this senior brother who entered the sect half a month earlier than him is going to lose again. Guansu's swordsmanship was transformed into a white beast with a horse body, dragon head, green hair and horns. It should have been terrifying, but at this moment it was swept by several hurricanes that soared into the sky and was in a mess. Yan Lingyu listened to it. In Kiwei Sword Pavilion, the world of natural disasters is a major inheritance. I think Reincarnation has comprehended the swordsmanship of natural disasters. Moreover, anyone with a discerning eye can see that the former's strength is above Guansu, and the latter's defeat is a foregone conclusion. When the galloping sword energy dissipated, only Reincarnation's proud figure and Guansu's lowered head were left. The fight between the two attracted many cultivators to watch. They were also discussing it. There were more disciples at Zhongdao Sword Peak, and these disciples only felt helpless. The wild swordsmanship is just like this, a disdainful voice came out, from Reincarnation. As soon as he finished speaking, he was interrupted by a perfect voice. "Sahun must not be rude," said Master Dongting seriously. Kuiwei Jianj naturally sent a real person to protect Reincarnation's safety. Yan Lingyu was quite familiar with this person's identity. When he was in Longming County, he had met this Dongting real person once. Pulling Reincarnation in front of his body, Dongting real person was admonishing on the surface, but in fact he was protecting him, and the smile on his face never faded. "Guansu, please step down." Him a real person from Daojian Peak also walked out from the side. His face was cold. Guansu nodded silently, seemingly downplaying it, but the two consecutive failures were a big blow to him. Especially this time, in full view of the public, it was even more embarrassing for the sect. Being defeated by a mortal enemy on his own territory is intolerable. The Dongting real person seemed to be trying to smooth things over, saying, "It is normal for the younger generation to win and lose when sparring with each other. If your level is not good enough, you can practice more." His words were murderous. Kuiwei Jianja sent people to Jianzhang's secret realm this time to train Reincarnation and also to find an opportunity to dampen the arrogance of Langhuan's sect. Indeed, Jianja is in the wrong in this matter. Taoist Himo, how about this? You Langhuan send another person to challenge our Reincarnation. If one wins and the other loses, it can also show the strength of your sect. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 237 Lingyu stands out, Jingshan disciples. The voice of Master Dongting was not loud, but it echoed clearly above the entire Kikiu Mountains. He was just urging the other disciples of Dao Jianfeng to come out. If one more person still couldn't defeat Reincarnation, the Dao Jianfeng lineage would be completely defeated. Even if the opponent won, it would not be a big deal for Kiwei Sword Pavilion. After all, they still had two talented disciples, and they could also argue that it was Reincarnation who was exhausted in the previous battle, so he lost. Anyway, no matter what, it would not harm the Sword Pavilion. As the leader of the Sword, Kiwei Sword Pavilion certainly knew that other forces rejected them. Therefore, the top leaders of the Sword Pavilion also wanted to strike again and again, so that other sword forces could not raise their heads, make no waves, and never turn over. On the other side, Master Himo stood quietly. If he was just cold before, his expression was gloomy now. He held his eyes and cursed inwardly, "This silly boy." In fact, Dao Jianfeng did not want Kiwei Sword Pavilion to participate in this sword hide-and-secret realm. But the conditions offered by the other party were too generous: the right to use the Black Wind Secret Realm for 1 year. The Black Wind Secret Realm is unique to Kiwei Sword Pavilion. It is not only useful for sword cultivators, but also has great value for other cultivators. Dao Jianfeng had to accept it because the entire Langhuan sect would also put pressure on it. Mo Henren's face was gloomy. He knew that Dao Jianfeng was now in a dilemma. There were naturally disciples who were stronger than Ruan Sihun, and there were quite a few of them, but they were not of the same generation and were many years older. Even if they won, it would be an unfair victory and would be criticized. And other people might not be the opponent of the other party. Dao Jianfeng could not lose again. At the same time, many disciples of Dao Jianfeng showed indignation on their faces, but no one stepped forward to challenge. Feng Qinglian was also in the crowd. But she sighed in her heart that she was not even a match for Guansu, let alone Ruan Sihun, who defeated Guansu. It would be embarrassing for her to go on the field. Her anger towards Kiwei Sword Pavilion reached its peak, but she had no way to deal with it. Not only the disciples of Dao Jianpeak, but also the other sword sect forces who were watching, were also heartbroken and helpless. They understood that this was Kiwei Jian Pavilion killing a chicken to scare the monkeys. It was not only suppressing Langhuan sect Dao Jianpeak, but also suppressing other sword forces to wear down their spirits. In fact, many sword cultivators present felt that Kiwei Jian Pavilion was an insurmountable mountain that no one could defeat. In front of the sword cultivators of Jian Pavilion, they would always be inferior. Guansu, who had caused this, buried his head in his chest, feeling ashamed and deeply self-blamed. He knew that he had caused a big disaster. Guansu could be embarrassed, but he could not tolerate the involvement of the sect and his master, Master Honglu. At this moment, Guansu only hated his own incompetence and his momentum was depressed. He was also confused. Was his swordsmanship strong? Could he become a real sword cultivator? Everyone was in sight. Yan Qingsun looked at Guansu silently, knowing that he was on the verge of collapse. If he couldn't survive this disaster, he might be useless. Yan Qingsun thought of his uncle, Master Honglu. It must be said that he was very good to him. Just letting him travel freely in the Sutra Pavilion was a great favor. Without this, Yan Qingsun might not have found his own way of swordsmanship. At the same time, Yan Qing'an was sent to Dao Jianpeak, which had a broader future. Master Honglu and Zheng Huaiying both made contributions. Yan Qingsun himself had no likes or dislikes for Kiwei Sword Pavilion, but now the other party's aggressive momentum made Yan Qingsun, who was peaceful by nature, feel disgusted. Now that the concealment period has passed, the next step is to go to Kiwei Sword Pavilion to participate in the Longming Sword meeting. Therefore, Yan Qingsun will not be suppressed by others if he exposes his strength. He doesn't need to hide himself anymore. In summary, Yan Qingsun already has a plan in mind. It's just right to try out his own sword of humanity and see how powerful it is. Dao Iao, if you don't send your disciples to fight, I will take Ruan Sihun back to Jianj, Dongting's Henren said with a smile. This, Mo's Henren hesitated. At this moment, a tall and young figure stood out. Junior Yan Qingsun is willing to discuss Dao with Dao Iao Ruan to enhance the friendship between the two sides. A loud voice sounded, and Yan Qingsun walked out of the crowd and said calmly. Qingsun, Yan Qingsun, Mo's Henren and Dongting's Henren changed their expressions at the same time. The former's eyes were worried. He wanted to refuse to fight again, so he was frustrated. But Yan Qingsun's sudden appearance disrupted his plan. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, he could not stop the other party. But Mo's Henren was also very cunning and changed his mind quickly. Since the matter was settled, why not let Yan Kid try? Honglu often boasted, maybe he really had the ability. Qingsun, be gentle, don't hurt the harmony between the two families, Mo's Henren said with a solemn look. You can lose everything, but if you lose even the breath in your heart, then Dao Jianfeng is really finished. Unlike Mo's Henren, Dongting's Henren of Jianje was full of doubts. He thought to himself, who is this guy who suddenly appeared? As Henren of the world, he has the ability to remember everything he sees. So when Yan Qingsun appeared, he recognized that this man was forcibly taken away from Longming County by Honglu's Henren. The other party can stand up at this moment, either he is a fool or he is confident. Dongting's Henren's expression changed from the original playfulness to solemnity. He stared at Yan Qingsun closely, trying to discern the truth from him. With my nascent soul cultivation, can't I see what kind of sword intention this boy has? This investigation made Dong Tingzhenren's heart sink again. Yan Qingsun also felt the former's attention, but his expression was open, and his steps were light and slow, and he came in front of Ruan Sihun. I am a disciple of Master Jingshan. I have learned the sword art of others. Fellow Taoist Ruan, please give me more guidance. Yan Qingsun spoke clearly. Ruan Sihun had already shown what he had learned, but the former had not. Yan Qingsun introduced himself to avoid the other party losing. However, his words shocked the high-level cultivators present. Perhaps the emerging sword cultivators did not know the name of Jingshan, but those at the level of Master Dongting were well known. Impossible, Jingshan has been dead for many years. How old is this kid? How could he be his disciple? Master Dongting was shocked at first, and then he did not believe it. A trace of panic flashed in his eyes. Jingshan's reputation was feared even by Kiwei Sword Pavilion. When the former was around, Kiwei Sword Pavilion did not dare to stir up trouble. One name suppressed a generation of sword cultivators. After coming back to his senses, Master Dongting adjusted his breath and thought to himself, after this kid said this, that old ghost emo didn't react in particular. I guess he is really Jingshan's disciple. The Langhun sect is really well hidden. This is good. Even if Sihun can't defeat him, we can still see and understand his swordsmanship. It's not a loss to catch this fish, but isn't Jingshan cultivating the stars? What is this kid's humanity? Chapter 238 Natural Disasters, Humanity. Looking at the young swordsman in front of him, Master Dongting felt inexplicably irritated. He sent a message to Ruan Sihun. Sihun, this boy is Jingshan's disciple. You must not take it lightly. Try to find out the opponent's strengths and weaknesses. It would be best if you can win. If you fail, I will not blame you. Ruan Sihun is Master Dongting's direct disciple. The former learned the natural disaster sword art from him. Because Jingshan's reputation is outside, Master Dongting is not optimistic about his own disciples. But he has this intention, but Ruan Sihun does not have this idea. In the eyes of this brilliant swordsman genius, Yan Qingsun, who suddenly appeared, cannot be his opponent. Ruan Sihun is proud, especially after he entered Kiwei Sword Pavilion. The resources that can be provided to swordsmen in the Sword Pavilion are too rich. Whether it is secret realms, inheritances, or elixirs, they are all carefully prepared for any swordsman. Other forces cannot have them, even the Langhun sect, which is also one of the 18 major forces in the Central Plains. He is already gifted, and with the assistance of these cultivation resources, the gap between him and others will only widen again. And the previous competition also proved this point. Guan Su, the disciple of Master Honglu, was not his opponent at all. What's more, he was a disciple of a dead man. Ruan Sihun's eyes were full of pride. He replied, Master, don't worry, I will definitely take him down. At the same time, other sword cultivators around also cast their eyes on the field, discussing the upcoming competition. Especially the name Yan Qingsun, which was passed on by word of mouth. Even some disciples of Daojian Peak were unfamiliar with him. But such an unknown person dared to challenge Ruan Sihun. Everyone was curious about what Yan Qingsun was capable of. And in the crowd, there was also a person who paid close attention to this matter. That was Li Yi from Wuji Sword Sect. At this moment, Li Yi's eyes were full of spirit, staring at Yan Qingsun's figure. Are you going to make a move? I have never felt the exquisite sword body so restless. Yan Qingsun, what are you hiding? What is your strength? Li Yi's status in Wuji Sword Sect is not ordinary. Ordinary cultivators can't enter his eyes at all, even Ruan Sihun. However, Yan Qingsun was the first person that aroused his strong interest. There was another person in the field who also attached great importance to the fight between Yan Qingsun and Ruan Sihun, and that was Guan Su, who had been defeated earlier. He stared at his junior brother with a dull look in his eyes, without moving away at all. His sight returned to the main person. Yan Qingsun still had a calm face. After seeing Ruan Sihun walk out, he asked, Daoyao Ruan has consumed some energy before. Do you need to rest for a while to adjust your breath and mana? No need. Ruan Sihun was not very old when he broke through the foundation building stage, so he looked very young in his 30s, maybe in his early 20s. His facial features were neat, his face was sharp, his green hair was draped behind his waist, and he was wearing a gray and white Taoist robe that symbolized the Kiwei Sword Pavilion. Yan Qingsun nodded, called out lightly, and summoned the 3 lotus blue nether sword into his hand and held it tightly. And the 1,000 spirits wind and rain sword in Ruan Sihun's hand had never been put away from beginning to end. The two of them were in sync, and without any outsider's prompts or orders, they attacked at the same time. Yan Qingsun stepped on the lotus step, raised his arm and swung the sword, and the dark white sword light shot out. This is the Ice Soul Sword. It can freeze people's souls. It is a sword move he learned a long time ago, and now he is more proficient in it. It's just a trick. Feeling the opponent's sword momentum, Ruan Sihun's disdain in his eyes became stronger. Boom boom boom, just hear his hand holding the sword, and it makes a roar. The space is shaking and bursting. His sword style changed from slashing to stabbing, and the sword body emitted a dazzling red light, with an amazing momentum, as if a volcano erupted and the world was shaking. As soon as the sword light arrived, Yan Qingsun's Ice Soul Sword was destroyed and turned into dots of silver snow. At the same time, Ruan Sihun's sword momentum did not decrease, and continued to move towards the opponent. In this case, Yan Qingsun was not in a hurry, changing his steps and making frequent sword moves. He knew that the Ice Soul Sword would not work. That sword was just a move to start the 4 Seasons Sword after the Ice Soul Sword. It was visible to the naked eye that the space around Yan Qingsun changed, the light and shadows flickered, the wind flow changed, and the water vapor condensed and dispersed. And all of this was caused by his sword. Just this move moved the sword cultivators present. Of course, this did not include Master Dongting. He looked at the two sides of the competition, frowning slightly. This 4 Seasons Sword intent can also be transformed into Star Sword intent, but this kid said that it was not inherited from Jingshan, but some kind of sort of humanity. What's going on? Master Dongting was quite puzzled. This 4 Seasons Sword was indeed very strong, but it was not enough for a genius sword cultivator of Ruan Sihun's level. Moreover, the 4 Seasons Sword was being restrained by the Natural Disaster Sword. Natural disasters are the extreme climate, the extreme manifestation of the changes of spring, summer, autumn and winter, and the elemental attributes exerted to the limit. Facing the changing 4 Seasons Sword, Ruan Sihun used the Flood Sword intent he learned to deal with it. His momentum suddenly changed from violent to violent, and his sword intent surged like a flood, wanting to destroy everything. One is a volcanic eruption, and the other is a flood. Ruan Sihun's swordsmanship strength can be seen. Quickly show all your strength, Ruan Sihun said impatiently. Fellow Taoist Ruan, be careful, Yan Qingsun replied. Everything before was just a test. Now that the general situation is clear, he should go all out. The so-called sword world does not really exist and can be seen by others. It is an abstract artistic conception. It will not be fully displayed, but manifested in the form of certain images. For example, Ruan Sihun's flood sword, this is not really able to summon any floods and tsunamis, and he is not a water-based cultivator. Maybe Langhun's sect can do it. The flood sword just brings the surging momentum of the flood to oppress others. The sword world, specifically, is a manifestation of momentum. This is, Dongting Zhenren's expression suddenly changed, full of shock. He saw the change in Yan Qingsun's momentum. This change did not raise the momentum, but rather reduced it. In the eyes of Master Dongting, the sword cultivator seemed like an ordinary mortal. It is difficult for mortals to have immortal energy, and it is even more difficult for cultivators to have mortal energy. Yan Qingsun's sword seemed to have generated spiritual energy and had its own consciousness, flying up and down. In a trance, Master Dongting saw a cold and sharp figure on the other party. This sword move was performed by this figure. Yan Qingsun's sword did not make any terrifying movements, but seemed to be understated and unnoticed. But when everyone reacted, his sword light had broken through the flood and volcano and killed in front of Ruan Sihun. The latter instantly died and his back felt cold. It was a murderous intent that penetrated his heart and an embarrassing perseverance. For a while, Ruan Sihun, who regarded himself as a genius in swordsmanship, chose to retreat. He displayed the unique skills of the sword pavilion steps. He thought of temporarily avoiding the edge. But his aura had been locked, and it was impossible to escape. Ruan Sihun was a man of great skill and experience. Seeing that he could not do anything, he decided to resist. His right hand trembled, and the sword changed its momentum. In an instant, the wind and clouds surged. His ultimate move, the Hurricane Sword, also known as the Typhoon Sword, whistled out. It was this sword that defeated Guan Su. Chapter 239. 3 people make a crowd, unity makes a fortress. So the so-called swordsmanship of man is the way of mortals. Dongting's Henren looked forward, and a sense of enlightenment came into his mind. He saw the meaning of the swordsmanship displayed by Yan Qingxun. Then there was another disdain. It's ridiculous. He is obviously a cultivator, but he cares about such low morality. In the face of natural disasters, the power of mortals will collapse at a blow. How can he use mortal power to resist the way of heaven? At this moment, Dongting's Henren secretly relaxed. He originally thought that the so-called Jingshan disciples were different from ordinary people, but it turned out that they were people who took the crooked path. In his mind, Ruan Sihun could not lose. Because this is already a gap in artistic conception. On the other side, Ruan Sihun also blocked the opponent's attack with a powerful hurricane sword intent. Before entering the secret realm of sword storage, he had already entered the great perfection of this hurricane sword intent, and with the assistance of the secret realm, it has now reached the highest level. After this fight, he also reacted to the sword intent cultivated by Yan Qingxun, and knew the connotation of the various sword techniques used by the opponent. Those are all mediocre sword arts. Although they are mixed together, the mundane is still the mundane. What big waves can they set off? To be honest, Ruan Sihun was indeed frightened by the sudden change in the opponent's momentum. Now he reacted and decided to go all out to defeat the opponent. The man's eyes were slightly focused, and the spiritual energy on the Qianling wind and rain sword was soaring to the sky. Ruan Sihun used the hurricane, volcano and flood swords at the same time. In an instant, the earth shook, the wind and clouds changed, and the terrifying sword energy and true energy went straight to the sky. This momentum is not like that of a mid-stage foundation cultivator. If you say that the former is a giant and master, maybe some people will believe it. Mortals are weak in the face of natural disasters. The sword intent swept Yan Qingxun. His robes whirred in the cold sword wind. Yan Qingxun's entire figure was submerged in the surging sword momentum. It is like a lone boat, drifting on the sea with surging waves and changing colors of the sky and earth. It may be overturned by the strong wind and huge waves at any time and sink into the endless deep sea forever. Seeing Yan Qingxun falling into disadvantage, Himo's Henren's eyes dimmed. The former is already very strong, and his swordsmanship does have room for development. The phantom of the human way is not something that ordinary swordsmen can comprehend. But the ordinary swordsmanship is indeed suppressed by the natural disaster swordsmanship. In the eyes of Himo's Henren, Yan Qingxun has run out of tricks and is about to lose. Not only him, but other swordsmen also think so. Except for Yan Qingxun, who is in the center of the storm. He calmly waved the Sanlian Kingming sword in his hand. His body movement is like a swimming dragon. His sword momentum changes strangely, and he can always block Ruan Sihun's most intense attack, and even has room for counterattack. Originally, all the swordsmen thought he would lose soon. But unexpectedly, Yan Qingxun not only persisted, but also became more and more courageous. Yan Qingxun was immersed in his own world of swordsmanship. The two human voices had already attacked. He knew that Huan Chujian could not take down Ruan Sihun, and maybe with Dao Yurangjian, there would be a chance. But they were only neck and neck. What Yan Qingxun wanted was not a narrow victory, but an overwhelming victory. He pointed his sword to his heart. It can be seen that figures appeared one after another in his sword city. These people were also ordinary people, but they all held swords in their hands. They had no faces, just an illusion. But where the eyes should be, a pair of resolute lights appeared. Someone shouted, and all the human phantoms rushed out of the city. This was Yan Qingxun's true understanding in the world of swordsmanship. 3 people make a crowd, and unity makes a city. In the secret realm, he saw countless swordsmen through those sword spirits, and these swordsmen were intertwined with many lives. And these lives are Yan Qingxun's natural swordsmanship, which can be taken at will and supplemented in his sword world. Although other people could not see the world of Yan Qingxun, they could clearly find that, every time Yan Qingxun swung a sword, his momentum would change. Every time he swung a sword, he could visualize a person raising a sword. And these people relied on each other to move forward and resist Ruan Sihun's attack. If the sword world of Yan Qingxun and Ruan Sihun were fully manifested at this moment, they would be surprised to find that outside a standing lonely city, there were sky fires, floods, and hurricanes, which wanted to destroy the city. However, people continued to pour out of the city to fight against these natural disasters. Sword by sword, the natural disasters were cut down. What kind of sword intent is this? Why does it give people a feeling of thousands of people advancing together? Li Yi, who was watching the battle, was surprised. He seemed to see a wall built by people, and how indestructible this wall was. United will make strength. Humanity, humanity, humanity is not the way of one person, but the way of all people under the world. Is this your swordsmanship, Yan Lingyu? Lingyu, who has a delicate sword body, has a brilliant look in his eyes. He has truly understood Yan Lingyu's swordsmanship. He can only admire. On the other side, Dongting's Henren's face is deep, and his pupils are filled with horror. This swordsmanship can actually counter my way of natural disasters. Dongting's Henren couldn't believe the scene in front of him. After Yan Lingyu's outbreak, Ruan Sihong fell into disadvantage and might lose. He saw that this was related to Yan Lingyu's sort of humanity. At this moment, Ruan Sihong was facing a worse situation than everyone expected. It takes a huge amount of energy to maintain the sword intent, not to mention that he was performing 3 top sword techniques at the same time, which was like a vortex, absorbing his mana. Originally thought that as long as he used his killing move, the opponent would not be able to hold on and would be defeated. But the current situation is completely the opposite. Yan Lingyu not only held on, but also restrained Ruan Sihong, so that the latter dared not give up easily, otherwise he would be retaliated. Why? How can mortal power defeat natural disasters in the way of heaven? As the stalemate continued, Ruan Sihong became more and more tired and weak, and he shouted in his heart unwillingly. It is true that when natural disasters come, mortals suffer disasters. And their families are broken up and killed. However, has the so-called natural disaster ever really defeated mortals? If so, then now there would be no human race, a seemingly weak race, in the world. The human race has never really died out since its appearance. Whenever a natural disaster comes, humans can always unite as one, work together, and burst out unprecedented energy. The power of one person is small, but the power of tens of millions of people is infinite. As long as humans work together, there is no difficulty that cannot be overcome. This is the power of humanity. In the world before Yan Lingyu crossed over, humans were the overlords of heaven and earth. These are the principles that Ruan Sihong and others, who were born as geniuses, would never understand. In Yan Lingyu's view, human nature is above the way of heaven. Chapter 240 Dongting's regret, Hemo's approval. A sharp scream pierced the sky from the main peak of the Weiqiu Mountains. Impossible. How could I lose? Ruan Sihong refused to accept reality. The fight between him and Yan Lingyu was over. The opponent's final united momentum was something Ruan Sihong could not break. This was the first time that his natural disaster sword intent encountered such an obstacle. It was as if he was stuck in a quagmire, with no way forward or backward. In the end, he could not withstand the large amount of true energy consumption and was defeated. Ruan Sihong looked at the young man in front of him with a calm expression, as if nothing had happened, and his eyes were full of gloom. Fellow Taoist Ruan, thank you. Yan Lingyu took back the sword on the other's neck and saluted. It was his action that made the former feel collapsed and unable to recover for a while, until his master, Master Dongting, walked to Ruan Sihong's side, and he cheered up a little. Master Dongting's facial expression was very complicated at this moment. He stared at Yan Lingyu closely and asked with some doubt, the boy who went with Honglu that day in Longming County, was it you? Faced with the other party's genius, Dongting's Henren did not dare to believe his memory for the first time. He thought that he might have remembered it wrongly. This Yan Lingyu who suddenly appeared might be cultivated by the subordinate forces of Langhuan's sect. However, the other party's words broke his last fantasy. Yan Lingyu said respectfully, it is the junior. As soon as this was said, Dongting's Henren's face instantly turned pale. Human, he waved his sleeves and was about to leave with Ruan Sihong. At this moment, there was only endless regret and hatred for Honglu in his heart. With Dongting's Henren's eyes, he could naturally see that the swordsmanship that Yan Lingyu learned was his own creation and understanding. Human sword intention may have appeared in the long history of Xuanai continent's cultivation. But it is certain that it must not be a top inheritance, and it is only inspired by some foundation building and key training swordsman. What Yan Lingyu did was to open up a complete sword road. It is no less than the natural disaster of his Kui Wei Jianj. It is the most difficult to create one's own. Even Dongting himself is inheriting the morality of his predecessors. In other words, Yan Lingyu, who can walk out of the human sword intention alone, has a talent potential that is even higher than that of Dongting's Henren. Compared with him, Ruan Sihong is a group of fireflies. Of course, if such a talent can be accepted by Jianj, Dongting's Henren will naturally smile. But the other party is a disciple of Langhuan's sect, A big worry. More importantly, Yan Qingsun has the possibility of becoming a disciple of Jianzhi. The best proof is that he was able to meet him in Longming County at that time. Yan Qingsun appeared in Longming County at that time, saying that he wanted to join Jianzhi more than Langhuan sect, but was intercepted by Honglu, a despicable person. How could this not make Dongting's Henren even more angry? At that moment before, he had already wanted to slap Yan Qingsun to death. But this is the territory of Langhuan sect after all. If he really started to fight, he would also die. He would not do this. What a Honglu, Master Dongting said viciously in his heart. Looking at Ruan Sihun, who was decadent in his hands, he suddenly felt that this disciple was not so good. If Yan Qingsun was his closed-door disciple, his name of Dongting would also be recorded in the history of the entire human swordsmanship. The more he thought about it, the deeper he became, and the figure of Master Dongting was getting farther and farther away from the Weiqiu Mountains. He had to rush back to the sword pavilion to discuss this matter with the sect leaders. The Dragon Ming sword meeting, which was originally a sure win, might have a different ending because of Yan Qingsun alone. Is this person Yan Qingsun? Why didn't I know that there was such a person in the Langhuan sect? Is it his secret weapon? Fellow Taoist Yan's sword intent broke my understanding of the swordsmanship. His talent and strength are far beyond me. Junior brother Yan usually doesn't show off his skills, but I didn't expect him to be so powerful. I suddenly feel that junior brother Yan is so handsome. I heard that he doesn't have a Taoist partner. At the sidelines of the competition, discussions came one after another. As the main person, Yan Qingsun was not influenced by others. He slowly walked to the camp of Daojian Peak and came to Guansu's side. Brother Guansu, the honor of Daojian Peak is still in our hands. Yan Qingsun's voice was not loud, but very clear, and it was transmitted to Guansu's ears word by word. The latter was obviously shocked, and his voice trembled a little in reply. Thank you, Brother Yan, for preventing Guan from making a big mistake. Only those who are in the same situation as Guansu can understand his excitement at this moment. Yan Qingsun is like a second life for him. At this moment, Guansu has regarded the former as his second most important person, second only to his master Honglu's Henren. Brother Guan, stabilize your Tao heart. Our Daojian Peak is not worse than Kiwei Jianzhi, and your swordsmanship is not inferior to Ruan Sihun. It's just that you lack an opportunity, Yan Qingsun continued. He saw that the other party was not bad by nature, and he had already developed a good impression of himself. Guansu's talent was also good, and he was a disciple of Henren. If he made friends with him, he could also give the Yan family an extra protector. After communicating with Guansu, Yan Qingsun's expression became serious. He walked through a group of Dao Jianfeng disciples and went straight to Hemo's Henren. Qingsun has fulfilled his mission. Good. 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 Hemo's Henren said good 3 times in a row. His face was ruddy and excited, with a smile, which was completely different from the previous situation. It can only be said that the smile will not disappear, but will only shift. In fact, Hemo's joy at this moment is completely from the heart. Dao Jianfeng is naturally happy that Jianzhou has been defeated. What makes him even more gratified is that there is another talented sword genius in the sect. Hemo's Henren's eyes are on Yan Qingsun, and he feels that this handsome and upright younger disciple is pleasing to the eye no matter how he looks at him. Although Hemo's Henren and Jingshan's Henren have no intersection, Yan Qingsun cannot be compared with the latter. But he can be compared with himself. What Yan Qingsun shows now is many times stronger than Hemo, was in the past. It was not until now that he understood why Honglu's Henren did not accept Yan Qingsun, who had higher potential, and instead accepted Guansu as a disciple. It's not that Guansu is not talented enough, but Yan Qingsun is too evil. No matter Honglu or Hemo, they can't teach him, they are not worthy of teaching him. If Yan Qingsun is led to the wrong path of swordsmanship because of their wrong guidance, the latter can also achieve certain results, but the upper limit is stuck. It's better to let Yan Qingsun play his own brilliant performance. Hemo's eyes moved, and he thought to himself, only Yan Qingsun, who was born in a noble family, can comprehend such a humane sword meaning. Hemo also has a certain understanding of Yan Qingsun's life experience. At the same time, he also understands the truth that the environment in which a swordsman lives has a profound impact on his acquired swordsmanship direction. Yan Qingsun can comprehend this kind of united as one sword meaning. It can be seen that his family is also a united family, a family with potential. Hemo also became interested in the Yan family because he loves the whole family. By the way, I heard from Master Honglu that Yan Qingxun was snatched from the sword pavilion. After knowing the latter's identity, the other party will never give up and may attack the forces to which Yan Qingxun belongs, and judging from Yan Qingxun's sense of belonging to the family, this Yan family has become the key to retaining the former. Hemo's mind was full of thoughts. He decided to take good care of this Yan family. Chapter 241, Final Chapter, End. This book ends hastily. Normal chapter word count. The following is the end in outline form. It's a bad ending. Sorry. Returning from the Kikyu Mountains to the Langhuan sect, the hidden dangers from the Mingxian sect were eliminated on the way. At the same time, the sword pavilion was shaken by Yan Qingxun. After Master Honglu learned about the competition, he took it more seriously and visited Chen Yanshan. The Yan family's momentum rose again, and the forces of Yuan's Hao, including the Lan family, the Mu family, and the Jinchi Gate, came to surrender and offer their loyalty. The matter of Langyu County is over. Dao Jianfang and his group rushed to Kiwei Sword Pavilion in Longming County to participate in the Longming Sword Meeting. All the sword cultivators from all sides came out, and the disciples of Kiwei Sword Pavilion were also well prepared. But they still couldn't stand the protagonist's halo. Yan Qingxun went through layers of obstacles and won the championship without any danger, obtained the sword seed, and the more critical power of luck. At the same time, he also got a method to materialize luck. The embryo of the artifact began to develop and took shape. Daluo County was in danger, the Hai family was in trouble, and the Yan family went to reinforce. Yan Qingxun arrived, showed his swordsmanship, helped Hayumo of the Hai family stabilize the situation, and won the opportunity. The relationship between the two families has further improved and become inseparable. Afterwards, he returned to Langyu County to practice in seclusion. The swordsmanship progressed, and the cultivation progressed. He returned to Shaonan County for the matter of condensing the pill. When he met his wife Qin Hainer, he could only be strangers, but he also learned about the situation of his daughter Yan Xinwei. The latter has already reached the golden elixir and is a less powerful elder of the Qingshu sect. Yan Qingxun entered the Langaya secret realm again. Although he did not get the desired Lingsha, he made a friend, Ma's Henjin of the Ma family, who is not a Central Plains force. The two met and had a good relationship. Yan Qingxun was inspired by the conversation with the other party and wanted to find a road to connect Langyu County in the Central Plains and the Shiwan Mountains in the south. It is equivalent to opening up a business road for himself, connecting various small and medium-sized forces in the counties in the middle. It is also called One Escape and One Road. Bumping back to Chennai Mountain in Yuan's Hao, the clan members exchanged their lives for the top-level spirit evil spirit of the earth rank, which helped Yan Qingxun to achieve the 8th level of Dan, and had the possibility of cultivating inter-Yuanying. It has been 20 years since then. The Yan family is coordinating the vicinity of Pingfang City, and they are strong in men and horses. Including Qin Hainer and Yan Xinwei, there are already 8 Jinden cultivators, and Yan Xingkang is in the late Jinden stage. 2 outstanding clan members, Yan Shan, who has a spiritual root, and Yan Qingquan, who has a Kimu spirit body, have both grown well and can become new pillars. Another 10 years of stabilizing the situation. As the clan's power grows, the Yan family feels that resources are scarce and the forces in the Central Plains are too dense, so they must seek new development. According to Yan Qingxun's idea, the One Escape and One Road plan was launched. Recall clan members. With the efforts of the Yan family, the Wuziman in the Middle Qingling County is used as a hub to communicate with various forces on the road. Naturally, there will be troubles in this process. But with the blessing of the protagonist's halo and the huge interests, this unofficial business line was developed. The Xianan League was established. Most of the forces in the league are foundation building in Jinden Daotong, including but not limited to Yan family, Hai family, Zhang family, Lan family, Wu Ziman, Shaonan County Lord's Mansion, etc. Among them, the Yan family is the strongest and has the deepest background. Yan Qingxun is the nominal leader. In this way, it is very convenient for the Yan family to travel between the Central Plains and Shaonan. In another 10 years, the Xianan League has made rapid progress, and each force has grown at different levels. When the Xianan League involves interests, there will inevitably be friction and suppression. Among them, the 2 major chambers of commerce are the main ones. The 2 major chambers of commerce are both one of the 18 major forces in the Central Plains. The development of the Xianan League stagnated. The Yan family began to continue to cultivate clansmen. Yan Qingxun was silent and rarely showed up. Cultivate talents for the family and the sect. In recent years, the sword power of Langhong County has also made significant progress. Although it is still not as good as Kiwai Sword Pavilion, there are also many sword geniuses who come every year because of Yan Qingxun's name. At this moment, Yan Qingxun's human sword intent has been supplemented to the Qin dynasty. Start to move towards Han. It was just two key figures, Liu Bang and Xiangyu, who made him reach a bottleneck. Even if he had a natural sword body, he would need a long time to hone it. Because the effect of cultivation recovery had been used up, the family development had also reached a bottleneck period, and the status of the sect was difficult to advance. Yan Qingxun was preparing to go to the East China Sea. At the same time, he was also thinking about whether he could open the one escape on the sea to break the original deadlock. By chance, he met Lin Take-su, a core disciple of the ancient Luohao Palace. By chance, he obtained half of the artifact Zhenmingzuang Trace Linghuang Palace. Return. After going through all kinds of things again, Yan Qingxun cultivated to the nascent soul. During this period, the artifact embryo given by the system also reached the usable stage. Taking this opportunity, the Yan family vigorously developed. On the road and on the sea, one escape on the road, going hand in hand. The Yan family was at its peak. It caught the eyes of others and became a major concern for others. The momentum of the Yan family's rise was discovered by the Daqian dynasty. The former is the kingly way, and the latter is the hegemonic way. It is impossible for the Yan family to walk the path that Daqian has walked again. Daqian's suppression followed. The 18 major forces in the Central Plains were all its lackeys. The two major chambers of commerce, Kiwai Jianj, Langhuanzong Fideojian, etc., all had more or less hatred for the Yan family. Yan Qingxun announced his withdrawal from Langhuanzong. Dao Jianfeng responded and launched Langhuanzong together. Master Honglu died because of this incident. Master Hema was injured and left, hiding his name. For a time, the Yan family suffered heavy losses. The vassal forces suffered a huge blow, the Hai family was almost destroyed, and Hai Chongyang fell. In order to stop the Yan family from being besieged, Yan Qingxun chose to sacrifice the embryo of the artifact and let the artifact take shape with his own death. He also launched an attack on Daqian's artifact world Longxi universe, and put his own people into Zhenmingzuang to trace the Linghuang Palace. Daqian was afraid, and Yan Qingxun, the head of the Yan family, was dead, so he stopped the offensive. Yan Qingxun was reincarnated. Yan Hexen. 200 years have passed. The Yan family has changed, and some of the people have Yuanying. System rewards. A sudden increase in cultivation. The Daqian dynasty has changed. Because of the appearance of the Yan family, the world knows that Daqian has been in decline for tens of thousands of years, strong on the outside but weak on the inside. Ancient forces including Hengshui sect, Luohao Palace, Zhengai sect, Taiyi sect, etc. launched to counterattack against Daqian. Many ancient secrets were exposed. The destruction of Zhenming sect was related to Daqian. The matter of the Hengshui sect's magic cultivators was also Daqian's attrition offensive. The Luohao Palace was forced into the East China Sea because of Daqian. After investigation, Daqian has a lot of things to say. The whole Daqian territory is in constant fighting. The Yan family returned to Xiaonan County and used it as a foundation to survive in the cracks. Under the effect of system rewards, the protagonist Yan Hexen's strength has grown rapidly. He led the Yan family members to hide their names and enters Hengai sect, followed a battle and made great achievements. Return to Yuanying. The world of swordsmanship has arrived in Daming. The world's #1 swordsman. On the other side, Yan Xinwei's nascent soul has a superior status in Hengshui sect. Yan Shan is in Taiyi sect, so he is a high-ranking official. The Yan family is on good terms with the Luohao Palace Lin Take-su. All the sword forces in the world except Kiwai Sword Pavilion. The families and sects that were originally allied with the Yan family. And so on. Yan Hexen responded to 100 calls. Entered a tug-of-war with Daqian. Yan Hexen broke through the refining void, fighting many retired emperors of Daqian alone. They died together. Yan Hexen reincarnated. Yan Yongshen. The Yan family became strong. Retreating behind the scenes. Daqian was renamed Daxia. It was not controlled by the Yan family, but by ordinary forces. The Yan family looked far ahead. Beginning the journey of the entire Xuanai continent, The end of this book. No essay. Dear Taoist friends, see you again. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.